Okay, we are live with a special war council. We have a special guest, Peyton Place, and then we also have Angus. He's here too. No,
Angus, you like the Andy Richter of Star Wars YouTube.
Wait. Andy Richter? I don't know that word.
You ever wonder why? Like this?
So we're very happy to have Peyton on here. I'll try to behave because we have a lady on, and we're going to talk about spoilers for season finale of The Mandalorian. We're also going to talk about spoilers for Rise of Skywalker. Even though I think I'm the only one of the. I don't know, Chubby Teddy. I don't know if you saw it or not.
I didn't see it. My mom actually saw it, but my mom it's awesome because there's all the spoilers and everything that were released. I'm like, hey, Mom, I was going over each spoiler like we were checking boxes of chores like when I was a kid. Hey, did this happen? Did that happen? Mom's like, yes. It was awesome.
All right, so
no, I have not seen it yet.
But you're going to get spoiled tonight, then maybe.
It's all good. Right. It's all good.
Star Wars Only should show up. He's running a little bit late, but he's a busy guy. So, and here's
he's actually going to be on my stream on Sunday.
Okay. We see why Darth Daddy's here. Darth Daddy is always look at it, his background now.
Beautiful,
hey, man.
Beautiful. I love it.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Good
man. You branded yourself well, man. I love it.
Yeah, you're moving up.
That's business card worthy, man. I love it.
And by the way, the logo and stuff was created by a guy that's in the Grey Order Discord, Griffin. Amazing work. He created this logo and everything, and he like volunteered, and he didn't ask for any money or anything from me. He's like, "Hey man, I'll make you a logo." I'm like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "All right, cool." So he made it. A tremendous job.
When you all make it on YouTube, remember me. Because I lost another 10 subs today off my previous stream. where I went full madman.
Yeah, Angus, what's up with your peoples with all the crying about the lost subs? What's up with the lost subs?
I can explain.
I
took away 5,000 of my subs.
I don't get into that crap. I just do everything.
I can explain that. It's typical YouTube BS. When you do the same type of content and you reach your sub walls, the notifications of people look at it and they don't actually click. It's scraping all those dead subs, and it gets rid of them. And YouTube does that all the time. But it's nothing to whine about.
No.
If I lose subs, I'll be whining every day.
I mean, is it really that, or is it like inactive accounts? Because I know like Twitter does the thing that they have the follower purge, and it's usually just inactive accounts and dead accounts. So it's
right. Inactive
really
dead account.
It's just they had a bunch of fake accounts following them.
It's possible too.
The Russian bots.
The Russian bots.
It's similar to the vein of YouTube is an abusive relationship. Here's my Patreon and Substar. It's that kind of scam. Support me, sub. I'm losing subs. I'm losing Snowdub. We're gonna have a stand together stream for Snowdub. He lost one sub with the purge. So be ready for his channel. It's gonna be sometime this weekend. Yeah, hail Snowdub. We stand together with Snowdub of his one lost sub from the purge.
Oh, you lost your Chubby.
What? Where'd Chubby Teddy go? He dropped out. Okay, so I was also going to talk about, did you see the Jon Favreau? Maybe I'll share this. I'll share this if I know what I'm doing. Hold on a second. Jon Favreau tweeted out this image for the finale today of a little glimpse of season 2. And I'm going to try to find it, of The Mandalorian.
Oh, I missed it. Really? Let's see this.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Oh, we got a Gamorrean guard there?
Yeah. That's really cool. Do you like the way it looks?
It's a naked Gamorrean guard. I'm used to him with he's got a loincloth. I'm used to the armor.
He's
What
not
was that?
naked enough.
So that's cool. I mean, should they have stayed exactly with the Return of the Jedi costume, or do you think they should have updated a little bit?
Well, I mean, that was armor he was wearing, so I'm sure not every Gamorrean being wears armor. So
you know what this is, right? This is a abomination. It is the spawn of Kermit and his illicit affair with Miss Piggy.
Oh my God.
wow, a green
that's
pig
awesome.
is what you're saying.
All right, and then I'll read the little article too. There is no official return date. However, Favreau confirms that the story will continue fall 2020. The announcement also included a tease of the Gamorrean, the green pig-like guards of Jabba's palace. So that's something. I'm glad they tweeted out something. I love Jon Favreau. Now everyone's jumping on the Favreau train. I've been saying this for like a year.
Well, with what we saw at the end of this episode,
He's very talented.
it's all Filoni there. That was a Filoni brainchild. I mean, the director was Taika Waititi, but the Easter egg at the end.
Oh, what?
Filoni.
Oh, the saber.
Yep.
That was awesome.
I want
Yeah,
that.
it was.
That's so
That was
fast.
awesome.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
I love the whole episode, but that last scene just made me go, ah! And I was just all
Yeah.
over the place.
Totally, man.
Okay, so Peyton Place. I did not watch your review yet of the Rise of Skywalker. I don't know what your thoughts are on it. How did you feel about it?
I mean, overall, I liked it.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't have faults for sure. It's not perfect, but for what JJ had with episode 8, what he could do with wrapping up this saga, I mean, I've seen it twice. I liked it more the second time, and
Okay.
I don't think it was the worst thing I've ever seen. So it's just, I mean, I'll accept it for me personally. I liked it. And yeah, I don't know. You can watch my review if you want to know everything, because it's just, I've talked about it so much. I'm just kind of so drained from talking about it. But it's good.
All right, cool.
Right.
And Darth
Good to
Daddy,
know.
I forgot I didn't watch your review either. I forget what we were talking. Did you like it?
Max, what have you watched? You haven't watched Rise of Skywalker. You haven't watched.
I've been watching The Mandalorian. I've been watching The Witcher.
No,
For a week.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat as Peyton. It wasn't the best Star Wars film I've ever seen, but I liked it. I mean, I was okay with it. Were there things they could have done better? Yeah. I mean, I pretty much talk about it in my thing. That Abrams kind of took his outline that we knew he had for what would have been the second movie and the third movie, and kind of mashed them into one movie, and that's why it was kind of rushed at the beginning. I've been going my last 2 live streams. I've been going over the visual dictionary for the Rise of Skywalker, and there's stuff in there that I wish was in the movie. That would have made it more sense. But like I said, it's either one of two things: either there shouldn't have been The Last Jedi as it was, and the things that were in this movie should have been part of the second movie, or this should have been a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
But other than some of the pacing and the rushing, I think it rounded up well. I was okay with some of the resolutions that happened in it and stuff. So
I want to get everyone. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I want to get everyone's thoughts on the recent controversy, or so-called controversy, about the Rotten Tomatoes audience score. And do you think there's anything there to the claims that Disney is okay? I want the fair and balanced view, Lunga. I've been waiting for your.
I am not a statistics guy. I don't like statistics. I hate them, but I understand them. And Josh actually, in Done the Nerds, actually did a video today.
I missed that.
And the discussion started in their Discord, and Star Wars Santa in there is a statistics guy, and he showed everyone a calculator online, and there's a point where you reach so much sample size that it's not going to change the number. No matter, I mean, you have to have some real drastic change to change that number. So 86 is where we're at, and that's where it is. So unless something drastic happens to deviate it, the increasing sample size isn't going to change that number up or down. So it's a real number, and if you play with that calculator and stuff, you'll see how statistics work. And it's like I said, there has to be some major deviation to happen, and that doesn't look like it's coming. So those are real scores.
Okay. I think there is room for manipulation, but is it against the law either? Like, companies do really crazy things to buy your tickets to your own film and then review them if you have the ticket verification. Well, I don't know if they go to that lengths though.
My question for you, Max, though, is what do you? I mean, if you think there's some foul play here, what are you thinking?
No, I don't. I'm just playing devil's advocate for some even people in the chat who said they're fake. There is someone that did a good YouTube video that was going through the reviews and the reviews, the comments from the supposed verified ticket users are very similar. So there's a conversation to be had there. I don't necessarily believe one way or the other. But even if it is, it's illegal to actually give funds to a reviewer, but not the audience score. I think they would try to manipulate if they could.
Yeah, I personally think there's at least. I skimmed through like an article or something about like the number. It might have been a tweet, I can't remember, but it was something about like the number and how there's like 10,000 or so, or I can't remember the number, but there was like so many overly similar scores, and like this is the first movie they've reviewed and it's like 5-star and you can't access it. There's no like history, all these weird things. But if you took those away, it would drop the score audience to like 65 at lowest. So you'd have a 20-point drop, but it'd still be positive. So even with the boost to give it like a B+ audience score with 86 or 85, whatever, there's still a majority positive, So I think, it's not that big. There is manipulation.
But how can you even? I mean, there was like the vagueness I heard in there is like, oh well, there were scores from people who never did this. How? Where are you getting this information from?
Well, this happened before.
Where did it happen before? Please tell me. Show me an article. Show me an article where people were caught.
Trinity, I gotta kick you. Sorry, Star Wars Solid just came in the.
No problem, man. No problem.
No. There's claims,
and Chubby Teddy's been waiting to talk to Star Wars Only, and I somehow have to keep good. Angus. I don't know.
No, listen, we can rotate. It's all good, man. Why don't we'll reach it. We'll rotate.
I'll try to rotate you and Chubby with Star Wars Only second.
Yeah.
Street, okay.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Second Street Marvel, love your stuff.
All right, Star Wars Only. I wanted this conversation with Star Wars Only too, because he likes to debunk a lot of rumors himself.
Okay. Well, let's catch him up. So, Star Wars Only, hello. Nice to see you.
I seem to have walked into a good conversation.
Yes, you did. Max opened the can of worms with the.
Yes, I did. I always do.
The conspiracy theory of the Rotten Tomato audience scores are being fudged or whatever.
Oh God!
Exactly. Thank you. Now I don't believe this. Angus, however, just presented some information that there was some voting done by people who don't usually vote, and what I was just about to say right before you came in is that he said this happened before. I want to see some verified facts. Show me what you're talking about other than conjecture by Disney TFM haters of this movie. I mean, show me some real stuff here. Don't just give me conjecture.
Well, like if I found a video of just like the scores that they're scrolling through, showing the scores where it's like, this is weird, because they did this before with on Twitter with Spider-Man. It wasn't even like politics or anything. It was just the Sony Spider-Man deal. It fell out. We thought Sony was going to keep Spider-Man solely by itself, and Dad did all this study of so many thousands of tweets that were all the same from all these different like bot accounts of like screw Sony, we want Spider-Man at Disney, and it was like all the same thing across all these different accounts. So they've done this before. Books what do you call it? Top selling books do this, where the author will buy their own books to keep their book at the top of the list. You know, so it's not crazy. For a big company with this movie riding on the line,
right? You realize how far you're stretching this?
I'm just saying it's completely plausible.
It's plausible, but I could have sworn that they had fixed this, like Rotten Tomatoes, because they had a big problem with this for a while, specifically, if I recall, with the Captain Marvel movie, which I did not give a shit about, but everyone and their mother seemed to have had a big ride about it. But I thought that they made it where it was only verified people who have seen the movie actually get to put it in. And I do find it odd that now that The Rise of Skywalker has come out, and I'll admit I'm not a fan of it, but that's another discussion. The one side of the fandom that does not like The Last Jedi, including myself, and does not like any Disney Star Wars, has said that, oh, The Last Jedi, the critics got it wrong, and they're paid off by Disney for giving it so much praise. Then The Rise of Skywalker comes out, and they're like, oh, look at what the critics are saying.
No, I agree. I agree with you, Star Wars Only. My only point is I think there is some fudging. I still think overall there's real scores that show, like, even if you accounted for what the percentage might be, say 10 or 20%, there's still a positive score for this film from the audience that should be valid, in my opinion. I don't question the overall audience score. I question maybe the high and low. That's it.
I feel like you should probably question the audience score more than anything, because even before The Force Awakens came out, there was a certain group, and I can't remember the name, but I know they're active on Facebook, and it was something about like purist of the expanded universe. And when Chuck Wendig, who that guy cannot fucking stand at all, he came out with the Aftermath book, the first one, and when that came out, it was bombed to hell on Amazon. And if you look at the comments, it was basically 1 star. This isn't the official Lucas Legends and stuff. So, I mean, you've had that history in the Star Wars fandom of these extremely passionate fans. And I feel like when it comes to these movie scores, you can kind of argue it both ways, where you're going to have some fans who have, seen the movie, but are going in automatically hating the film before it even came out and are going to give it these bomb reviews. So I feel like if you're going to use the audience as a score, I'd give it a plus to minus 10% error, no matter error, either way you go for, because you're going to have a section of the fandom who's just going to praise it because it has the title Star Wars, and you also are going to have a section of the fandom who are going to hate it because it has the title Star Wars.
Right. To me, if that is happening, it's going to be a net balance of 0, and we're still going to be at 86. We're still at 86. No, Angus, you said, well, maybe it'll be like 65. No.
No, I'm agreeing with like the overall essence of what you're saying.
Yeah,
largely it cancels out. Is what I can agree with that.
Yeah, if it does, then it's the score we're seeing 86 is where it's at.
But Mac,
I have a follow up to this.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say something, and then I'll drop out for a while.
Okay, good. Kick Angus.
No. I just want to
cancel Angus with some steak sauce.
No, the. Damn it! You made me lose my train of thought. It'll come back to me. I'll come back and address that. But I'll come back in if y'all still going and there's space. But get Trinity in here.
Oh, thanks, Angus. I was just kidding. I appreciate that. All right, Trinity, you're back. And I had a second part to that question. So now that we discussed the theory of manipulation in the audience score, does the box office, what's happening with The Rise of Skywalker, support that at all?
What do you mean in like context of it not doing great?
That the audience score kind of goes along with the box office. It's doing really well for a week. It's going to pass 1 billion worldwide.
Well, it's already at 368.2 million just after the weekend.
Yeah.
Domestic or worldwide?
Domestic.
Okay. Yeah. So let's say that sounds low if it's worldwide.
I was going to say, because last I heard it was almost 500,000 worldwide.
500 million. Yeah, it passed that mark. I think the day after is today. The day after? No, yesterday, the day after Christmas, and it had the second biggest Christmas day since The Force Awakens. I mean, I think the marketing behind this one was smarter to release it when they did, because if you remember, The Last Jedi came out December 15th, so it was like that week before Christmas, and it had what they called like one of the biggest drop-offs in movie history, where it like lost $1 billion, kind of opportunity costs, economics wise, in the second week. This one though really used Christmas to its advantage in the holiday season and everything. And I also would argue that the Mandalorian show has helped out a lot.
Oh yeah, definitely. And two, the other thing is when it came out, it was actually one of the worst days weekends to release a movie. It's at Super Saturdays. It was the highest shopping season, a day of like one of the highest days of the year for shopping. And this year it was higher than any other Super Saturday in like a while. So it was just a weekend where there was a lot of people out shopping and doing a lot of things, which I kind of figured was going to happen. I go, watch, when we get to Christmas, it's going to bump up. And it did. It shot up dramatically. I'm just hoping it keeps the legs. I think it will. I mean, my first prediction a month before, I would say it was going to do better than The Last Jedi, and it could possibly hit 1.5 billion. That was my prediction. Now, I could be proven wrong, but we'll see.
That's also where I kind of put it at first. I don't know how it's going to get there now. I'm not going to say it's not, but it's I mean, that's a good mark for it, because that would keep up with the traditional Star Wars pattern where the third film does better than the second film, but worse than the first. And so I think that if it hits 1.5, it's a good mark for Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Trinity, you know you're back live. I put you back on the stage. Probably not.
Yeah, I'm here.
He's Trinity. You're still crying about your sub loss, aren't you? I mean, that Twitter video was going for a while with tears.
Yeah.
I didn't see your Twitter video.
I'm totally heartbroken. That's why I'm not showing my face.
You're pimping your new logo. It looks like.
Oh yeah, you have to go check that out, man.
He's almost at 1K subs. If he hasn't passed already, he's doing a good job.
Yeah, creeping up slowly.
Yeah.
Creeping up slowly, man.
Star Wars only. Did you see Favreau's post about the Gamorrean Guard for season 2?
Oh yeah, of course. I was weird. I saw it like the minute he tweeted it out. It said 1 minute ago. I was like, awesome, season 2. We kind of knew about this, and then everybody was posting and making news about it. I was like, all right, well, I guess I got to make a video about it and make my money as well, because that's what we do now.
Yeah.
But it looks great. I mean, so far, season 1 was amazing. I think it's one of the best things we've had in Star Wars. I'm excited for season 2. People are saying fall's too long of a wait, but you also got to think we're getting the Clone Wars in February, and then we're going to get more and more and more Star Wars content. I mean, Star Wars is here to stay, it seems.
Yeah. I mean, the streaming services, and most of the time, I mean, we usually have about a 9-month to a year turnaround between seasons. It's kind of what's been happening with everything. I mean, at least we don't have to wait as long as Game of Thrones. That was ridiculous.
No, yeah, it won't even work to wait.
I might lose my shit. So if you're not talking about Game of Thrones,
let's talk about the Night King and how they ruined that.
Don't even get me started. Don't even. Oh God.
Did everyone watch the Obi-Wan fan film?
Yeah. Dear God, tell me y'all did. That's my buddy right there.
Oh, you know? Okay.
Yeah,
I like it.
The premiere he had on Monday.
The acting in there was damn good.
I haven't seen it yet.
No,
really good.
Yeah, God, that's what Star Wars is like, and that's what Disney. Hopefully, they see it, and obviously, Ewan McGregor should still be Kenobi, but like bringing the people that worked on that onto Kenobi, the series, like it would keep that heart that we love so much about Star Wars and keep that pace and that flow and that feeling. Like that's what I want to see. Like this is what it should be like.
The guy who played that Imperial officer is the guy who did Obi-Wan's voice in
James
Arnold Taylor.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Is that really, or is that just?
I mean, considering a dog is your icon, that's hilarious that it's barking.
I wasn't sure if that was actually Chubby Teddy or his dog.
That's actually Chubby Teddy. Doug is barking right now, actually.
That happens.
Just said to tell you hi, everyone.
That happens all the time.
Sorry, guys.
No, no.
That's fine. I have 3 dogs. I understand.
Nice.
I think we
what
could
kind
go
of dogs
on.
you got?
I have a shepherd mix, a big boy, almost 100-pound shepherd mix, a pit litter mix, and a very stunted husky.
Aw.
Oh, right on.
Oh, there you go.
Peyton, look at you.
I love dogs.
Who's that, Peyton?
I'll take them over YouTubers any day.
It's serious.
Oh yeah. I'd kill a YouTuber before I killed a dog.
Right on.
I think we can.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Max.
No, I want to hear your joke now.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Oh, no.
It might have got you. Sorry, I ruined it.
I'll put that in the back pocket.
Okay. I think we I think we could talk about the Mandalorian season finale going full spoilers now. So if you haven't seen it, you're warned. It's my favorite of the season, and I was worried about Taika Waititi. It was awesome.
Why were you worried about him?
I like Taika Waititi, but I also like Thor Ragnarok. I loved it the first time, and then rewatching it, it's like, oh, so many jokes. Jokes are sometimes only.
I talked about it. I thought it was like so perfect. Like it didn't seem like too many, but it didn't seem like too little. Like I don't know. I love Thor
the opening. The opening scene
yes.
is pure Taika
Yes.
with the meta references of that stormtroopers can't hit the side of a barn.
Yeah.
They couldn't hit that thing on the ground. It was like 10 feet in front of them. And their banter made me laugh. Now while I was watching it, I go, hope this doesn't go on for too long because it's going to drive me nuts.
Yeah.
The banter between them two were hilarious.
Oh no, it had the stamp of Taika throughout that whole thing, and that you can just tell you're watching something that he directed.
Right.
And I think that's why it was my favorite too, because it was just like you got the humor when he needed the humor, and the banter like pulled back when he needed to be more serious. Like he's just a fucking genius.
Mm.
I kind of like wish he would get more, not just Jon Favreau, but also like Taika if he got Star Wars. I feel like he could do something better with it too. Not just John. John's very talented.
Yeah.
And while I love this episode and I love Esposito, I love the guy. I love his acting, but I don't know. And this is going to sound harsh. I may be the one person on the outside that no one else is seeing this. It seems like he's overacting as Gideon. I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like he's kind of overacting.
It's just you bastard. I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
Yeah, it felt like he's just overacting a little bit. Like he doesn't have to try that hard. He's a great actor. You don't have to try this hard to be Gideon.
No, yeah, he was amazing in Breaking Bad as Gus Fring, and it's odd seeing him now not cooking chicken and making meth and whatnot. But he seems to enjoy the villain role really, really well. And I'm excited. The ending part, I don't really get like a lot of Star Wars films and shows. For me, I hate to be that guy who feels like they're predictable, but a lot of them are very predictable. But at the end of the finale, where he has that dark saber, I truly had a jaw-dropping moment. I was like, "Oh shit,
yeah,
that's awesome!" And the way he stood over and looked badass, I think it's great. I think it sets up a good villain for the rest of the season and season 2.
The moment it came out of that TIE fighter, I saw it. My jaw hit the ground. Yeah, my back got cold. I got tingly. I was like, "Holy shit! They really just put the dark saber in here."
So now that's a good marketing ploy because now I fucking want one.
Yeah.
They're really hard to make in real life too, because a black saber, like black is just the absence of color. You can't really have it just shine. I mean, the best way I think they could probably pull it off is have like a white light in the middle and then put like a bunch of black electrical tape around it or something ghetto like that.
Totally.
And then you got a nice looking saber. But
and what makes you see it is the grayish white glowing on the edge. That's what makes it come out.
Well, Second Street dropped out. He's busy guy. He's got a family too, kids. So we brought back Angus by default.
Okay.
Angus, you're back.
Our Andy Richter, which he still doesn't get the reference. Apparently.
I love it, Andy Richter. God.
So
is he still alive? Is he?
Yeah.
I know.
Net Alliance, who I also want to have on the show. Hopefully we could get Star Wars Only back in Net Alliance at the same time, or maybe on Star Wars Only channel. I don't know.
I've been trying to get him on. I don't know. I mean, I told him to hit me up an email or Twitter, and I'm still waiting. Net, let's do this. I don't got much time.
Yeah, he's gonna be busy soon.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be gone for a hot minute. 6 months.
Okay, so super secret.
I'm working on the inside now. I got a nice little setup job coming in 2020. So. I'm getting my foot in the door on that evil empire we all love.
Remember us all, Star Wars Only. Remember us all.
Oh yeah, you'll all be. I'll be sending you my info. I'll get a picture with Bob Iger and be like, "You guys have no idea what he just told me."
You better drop this stuff on my show. Just listen.
No. Nice try, Darth Daddy. No.
Sorry, I stepped away really quick. What's the topic at hand specifically?
Net Alliance.
we want him to join us in a conversation in the future. And I highlight his comment because he said he has some issues with the Mando finale. It's my second favorite episode, but when they all run out in the open, not in cover, and are still unscathed, it is a little rough. Still a good scene. I can understand that, but that happens a lot in Star Wars too.
I don't know.
would
Mando
agree
got
with
really
the first
screwed
one.
up though.
Yeah,
Mando got
Mandalorian got like close to
Yeah.
death.
Yeah.
IG-11 got shot in the back a lot. I mean, it was a
Okay,
bad
Baby
moment.
Yoda got fucking punched.
So you're,
Yeah.
Dude, the helmet came off. The helmet came off.
so you're wrong, Net Alliance. Sorry, bye. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Thanks for the comment. Yeah, okay. I've heard it before, Trinity. I'm always second fiddle for you. Okay. All right. Well, we'll have you on again in the future. Rate your favorite. How does it rank about your favorite episodes? Episode 8.
I think it was the best
Are we
one.
It's
For
up
me,
there. It's
but-
top 3 personally. I think all the Deborah Chow ones have been, and I might sound biased to her, but all of hers have just been 10 out of 10s out of the park. And I recorded my review for this one today, and I said I don't want to sound biased and say like there's so many 10 out of 10s in this season, but this is probably the third damn near perfect episode, if not perfect in my opinion. And I don't know. I think Taika Waititi was a great director for this. I think he got the humor right. It's not over the top. It feels natural with the characters. And I think Jon Favreau is a great writer for the show. I hope that, no offense to Dave Filoni, I hope they keep him away from the writer's chair in the future seasons and keep him in the director's chair. But Jon Favreau, Christopher Yost, Rick Famuyiwa, who wrote one of the screenplays, the writing on this show has just been phenomenal so far. And so I think that going forward, this really sets a good example for what can come in the future of the Star Wars franchise.
That's actually a good thing.
Cool.
Do top
That's
3,
cool.
and I'll go first. Top 3 episodes. Number 8, this one I loved it. Number 6, and I love Deborah Chow, but I'm still going to go with episode 1 because the joy I had of seeing Baby Yoda and that shootout sequence was just like, yeah, this show's legit. I remember that feeling. So I'm going 8, 6, and 1 episodes.
I have a hard time ranking a series episodes because I always view it in the scope of a season. You know what I mean? I could pick apart things in certain episodes. I didn't like this, I didn't like that, or I love this, I love that. And yeah, while some episodes I think stood out from others, I have a hard time ranking just because it's like, to me, it's a season. It's a good show. Okay.
Well, that's what I asked you to do, though.
Yeah.
Every
Wow. Oh my God.
Every great
Do
show,
it
Do your
anyway.
homework, Darth Daddy. Jeez. For the love of
I can-
God,
listen,
do your homework.
I can sit. Listen, I can fence sit this. Okay,
I know. I know.
That's because every great show that whatever, pick any show that you loved. You can't say every episode was great. You know, there was episodes that were snoozers. There was episodes, but it never diminished my love.
See, Peyton's like, man, I should have gone before Darth Daddy.
It never diminished my love for
Get out of here.
in general. Hey,
Totally.
Matt,
Hey, ladies first, Darth Daddy. Skip Lunga. Peyton, you're next.
Ladies first, and Darth Daddy can go first.
and I'm done. I'm
damn.
done. Go ahead. I'm done.
That hurt me.
No,
No.
what?
I'm done. Go ahead.
I was like my dog in. I wasn't like getting out because you were talking.
No.
Oh,
I'm not. I wasn't having a problem with it. Max was trying to play it off as that. I didn't have any issue.
I'm just joking, Darth Daddy. I love you, Daddy.
I just ignored it and kept going. So.
Yeah.
Sounds like a typical man.
So because he had such a
Oh,
problem with
geez.
since he had such a
Wow,
problem with
drop
the
the mic,
question,
Peyton, huh?
Daddy takes Angus's place. You'll go last, Daddy. Okay, Peyton, what's your top 3 episodes of Mandalorian? Now that you've seen the whole season,
I know.
just for fun.
Well, I'm not. It's not like I'm going to be a dick like him and not answer you. I will actually give you a legitimate answer.
Oh, okay, cool.
I liked 8 except for when they punched Baby Yoda. I wanted.
Oh yeah. That was
No, yeah, that's right.
IG-11. I love. Like, good for you, new best friend. I really loved 8. I liked 6, and I liked 5. Like, I'm sorry, but the nostalgia of Tatooine, like, that's just what fucking like me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, oh my
That was
god.
cool.
I'll give you the sand people. I'll give you that.
Yeah, like, and actually seeing that they know, like, they can, like, I love adding more human or relatable qualities. Like they did with the stormtroopers, with them talking that they're not just like mindless drones, that they actually have personalities, that the Tusken Raiders they are barbarians, but that they actually can speak and see these different sides. Like I like showing like that kind of characteristics. So that's why I think I really liked 5, because you got to see more of that. So
good answer.
Thanks.
Thank you. Angus, I'll let you go next.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually can tell you my order of all 8 episodes.
Oh,
starting
wow,
from
okay.
top to bottom.
Okay.
7.
Let's do this. Angus,
Let me go grab a
who was
pillow.
once prom king.
No. This is really quick. 7. This is from top to bottom. So best being 7, 6, 2, 3, 1, 8 at number 6, 4, and 5. I think that, and
Okay.
it's kind of weird because the top, I would say 6 episodes are all pretty solid. I gave this episode a 7 out of 10, so that tells you how good all the other episodes were. But this was pretty weak, and if you're ranking them all, in my opinion, like the whole Stormtrooper stuff, that meta crap, I don't need that in Star Wars. That's for Marvel. Don't put it in Star Wars. What TD did fine. I was really surprised, actually, that it was a solid. Gus Fring, Giancarlo playing Moff Gideon, he did well.
Yeah.
I saw someone in a Grey Order chat saying he was a bit too wordy compared to Gus Fring. I thought he was spot on with the same character. I think he has a character type, a trope like Jim Carrey or something where it's like you know what he's going to bring. And he brought that to this character and it worked. Maybe you could cut down his monologues a little bit and it'd be a little more believable, a little more sinister. Baby Yoda getting punched, I think, was good in the sense that, you know, it's showing he's not invulnerable, that, you know, like wink wink audience, like we know this will be something you're going to argue about because it's Star Wars, you know. I think that was good awareness. I like the Mando actually being hurt.
Yeah, but you're giving Peyton a heart attack over there.
I like the
trick.
I like the trick. It was pretty obvious once you got to it, but the trick of like, oh, I'll never show my face into a living being, and it's like, well, I'm not living, and the whole like, see the CPU joke that works compared to like the Stormtroopers, where it's like, I don't buy the Stormtrooper crap because how do you make an empire with these retards? I don't get it. It's stupid. The joke has gone far enough.
They have no other option, either die or serve, and so that's what they chose, and they're going to blindly follow.
There's a great saying that says, don't confuse stupidity with malice, and I think you can kind of apply that to a lot of the Empire stuff.
My only problem with that scene was the Stormtroopers can't shoot the can after they just killed one of our favorite characters. That's where it hurt me. I was like, no.
When he was standing literally like 2 feet from them, and he still missed.
Yeah.
Depends which Stormtroopers, because these are the guys that were left out with the speeder bikes, and so they were given like the crap duty. So I think they were like the low end of the totem poles of the Stormtroopers, so they were the lowest of the low.
Yeah, the dollar store ones.
Yeah.
Oh, Matt Jarbo's in the chat. Yo, Matt Jarbo.
Jarbo. Jarbinator.
You brought some heat. He brought some heat today on YouTube.
Oh man,
I covered your video.
Look at this.
I watched your video, Matt. I don't know if we have room for you now, or I would invite you.
You know what? Do you want me to bounce for a little bit? I can bounce out for a little bit, Max.
Okay.
I can dip out for a minute.
I don't know if he wants to come on. I'll send him a link. If he
wants to come on,
I'll send him a link.
Okay.
Here, Max, instead of giving you my rankings, how about I give you the one I didn't like? Is that better?
That's not what I asked. Man, you're still trying.
Lunga's like, I'm the captain now.
Hey, at least I asked.
Holy man.
Okay, tell us your top 3 and then the one you didn't like.
Well, I mean,
after Star Wars only.
Okay.
Oh God, man!
Here, if I have Star Wars only, you have the floor.
It's definitely been a minute since I've seen Chapter 3, but mine are pretty simple. I would say Chapter 7 is the best, simply because it can set up pretty well Chapter 8. Chapter 8's number 2. That one, this is the only one that genuinely had me tearing up. It was mainly at the end when he was doing the burial thing for his buddy who died in chapter 7. That one definitely cut deep. And I wouldn't even cry at the end of Marley and Me, but this one I was like, damn, that hurts.
Wow.
And then chapter 3 is number 3 for me. I mean, I think Deborah Chow's amazing. I would say chapter 6 is up there as well, just because I'm biased towards Bill Burr, but that really didn't develop the plot too much. It was another filler episode, which is fine, but I mean, the show, it's hard to rank such a good show with really only, in my opinion, 2 lacking episodes. So it would be number 8's number 1. All right, my bad. Number 7's number 1. Number 8 is number 2, and number 3 is number 3.
Okay, Chubby Teddy, would you mind dipping out for a few minutes? You got Jarbo.
Yeah, not at all.
He's bringing the
Not
heat
at all.
this today. All right.
Oh God.
Oh, sorry, Star Wars only. I didn't mean to do that.
That's all right.
All right, Matt.
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. So Mandalorian was great. It was perfect. So,
Yeah.
so that's how I just want to start off.
Okay.
Mandalorian's amazing.
Yes. What are you? Well, we were voting on our top 3 episodes. So
3, 6, and 8.
okay.
That's fair.
So I don't know who said that they're also very much big into Bill Burr, but I am as well.
Likewise, my
Yes.
friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Old Billy
yeah.
Baldhead.
F.A.N.S for Family is the greatest show on Netflix that nobody watches, I feel like.
Yeah, I haven't even watched it either, and it looks so good. But it looks like another what's that show? BoJack Horseman is like the Netflix show that I've been watching a lot.
I love
No,
BoJack.
not at all.
Thank you.
It's so goddamn funny. F.A.N.S for Family. Imagine the show All in the Family with Archie Bunker,
Mhm.
but Bill Burr.
Okay, I'll have
And
to
he's
check it out.
always pissed off. Yes. There's also, they've done 3 seasons of the show, and it's a lot of really intricate storytelling because like the 3 seasons take place over a very short amount of time. I did a review of it, and the show creator, the co-creator who also co-created The Simpsons, found it and then followed me on Twitter as a result of me diving into F.A.N.S for Family as hard as I did.
Oh, nice.
So, and I was like, that's dope, dude, because I love this show. Bill Burr is that episode was great, not just for Bill Burr, but you also had Clancy Brown, you had Richard Ayoade as the voice of the droid, you had Mark Boone Jr., who I loved from Sons of Anarchy.
Oh yeah.
You know, you had Tonks and Asha. I forget the actress name.
Natalia.
Natalia. Yeah. But then also who the voice of Anakin Skywalker was the pilot, you know?
Yep.
So it's like there's so much going on in that episode. And Mando became Batman. Let's just be fair. Mando became Batman.
It actually had a Predator vibe to it, the way they did
that works too. Yeah, that works too. Either way, it's a good filler episode. It was fine with me. It was better than episode 5. Episode 5 was the weak point of the season.
Yeah. That was Max, when I said I was gonna tell you my least favorite, that was the one, episode 5. Only because it just didn't.
Sorry, Peyton. I try to keep them under control with there. That's episode 5 was your favorite.
No, least favorite.
Yeah, I'm saying Peyton's was.
Well, when he talks, I just don't listen anymore. Just kidding.
Oh,
wow.
Damn.
Wow, it's like that now.
Okay.
Slugs.
I'm allowed to like something that you don't like. You're allowed to.
No, that's yeah.
I guess Peyton
That's
is.
not how the internet works. That's not how the internet works.
That's how the internet's work. So people calling each other idiots in the chats. It's just like, come on, you guys.
Peyton is not going gray, Daddy. I'm sorry.
Hey,
I actually want her to go gray, but I mean, you have to decide for yourself.
Max, you understand the whole point of the Gray Order doesn't mean we all like the same thing. That's the whole point. Right. That's the whole point of it, is that we don't like all the same thing. But we can talk about it and still, all be fans at the end of the day, not liking it. Okay.
Yes, fair and balanced.
Yeah. Come on. What, do I get to say my favorites now, since you've been bugging me saying that's not what you asked?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Fine. All right. Well, I would say it would be 7, 8, and then 6 and 3 tied.
Oh, okay. Cool. Great.
Okay.
Now what you said, the Clone Wars is coming back, Star Wars only, in February. I didn't know it was going to be that soon.
Yeah, it's coming back in February 2020. I don't know if they have like an actual release date for it, but I know for sure it's in February.
All right.
Yeah, it's definitely in February. I just don't know when.
I'll be looking out for that. I honestly don't feel any rush to go see The Rise of Skywalker. I'm just going to wait for rental because besides the Clone Wars, there's going to be a little length of time there. So I will eventually see it. I didn't want anything to taint my enjoyment of the end of The Mandalorian. And honestly, after I watched reviews and spoilers, there would be things that would make me angry. And I didn't want to go full madman.
I mean, like, that's the thing, though. Like, with, like, people, like, they're saying, like, they're going to wait and all that. I understand. But, like, why not just finish kind of what you started kind of thing? And also, one thing I really enjoyed about Rise of Skywalker is if you're watching The Mandalorian, then there's parts of kind of in The Mandalorian that are in this. Like, Yoda's healing ability, you see that in this, and you're like, holy shit, like, maybe it wouldn't have dawned on people if they're not watching The Mandalorian, like, oh, fuck, like, she can do what he, and, like, and there's little Easter eggs throughout that, so if you like The Mandalorian, for those little parts, I think that would get you through to it.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah. She's exactly right, and I don't know.
I think to see it once, like, for the whole, because I think it'd be different, sorry to interrupt you guys, but I think it's different seeing it on a small screen at home when seeing it on the big picture, we started Star Wars, might as well end it on the big screen, seeing it. And then if you still feel like iffy about it, then yeah, wait for it to come out again and watch it on a small screen. But you want that impact for your first showing, because otherwise you see it on a small screen might not have the same effect, which I mean that it should, but why not, like I said, just finish what you started. Like, it's a saga, it's Star Wars. I know it's not the one that we all love and wanted, but it still has characters that we love and a lot of nostalgia that we love that I think saved it. So I would just say again,
I agree. Don't do what I did, which was fly 2 states away to go see it 2 days early.
Oh boy!
But in my defense, I saw the movie before I saw Mandalorian episode 7. So like when I was watching Mandalorian that night, I'm all like, I really wonder what the connection is going to be. And as soon as I saw the Force healing thing, I'm all like, there it is. There it is.
And so it's like a little nod to like the continuation of Star Wars, that there's a little of like giving nods to what is everyone does like right now, which is The Mandalorian. So.
Yeah, and that force shield thing should have been apparent. I mean, most of us, when we were watching the first couple episodes, we already saw that Yoda was trying to heal him, and even if you didn't read any of the leaks, which I tried not to see as much as I can of it, but we felt this was coming. You know what I mean? So it made sense, and I really do think it tied it all together, and it does give you that sense of familiarity. You know, to where it's like, well, you saw it on something that you enjoy. And now you saw it on here. I just don't understand, Max. Why do you have to get angry? I mean, I can say disappointed. I can say disappointed, say I didn't agree with this, but I don't understand the anger. Why is it going to get you so angry? That's what I don't get.
It's something he loves very deeply.
Yeah.
I have a theory on that, actually.
Okay.
If you don't like Max, can I diagnose you?
Yes.
Me? Diagnose this madness? Many
I
tried.
think my 1/4 semester psychology class in high school leads me to suggest that it's the only way you can get an erection.
Ooh,
damn!
Ooh, that's pretty heavy metal, Max.
Max, don't you have kids?
Man, I'm always angry, huh, Max?
I just can't support the trilogy when it's obvious they didn't have a plan, a full thought out plan. They go back and forth. I do think The Rise, they did the best of what they could with the time they could. If they really wanted to get it really good, they would have delayed it, but they're never going to do that after Solo. After Solo, they stopped production, poured more money into it, and it still had a bad box office. They're never going to stop that train.
To be fair, they did delay this one. It was supposed to come out in May of this year with Colin Trevorrow, but I mean, they literally have delayed every single episodic film for the sequel.
It's actually not true. What it was is originally they were going to release The Last Jedi in May of 2017 to correspond with the anniversary, but then when Carrie Fisher died, they delayed it. They delayed it back to. Oh no, they were already still shooting, I think. But they delayed it to December, but they kept Solo on that same Memorial Day track. And
I thought they had announced it when they announced Colin Trevorrow coming in that they were going to do the May, because I know at the time when they announced Episode 9 with Trevorrow, they were keeping that May timeline because Last Jedi was also in the May timeline. And I thought when they brought in JJ, they delayed it to December, which still was a short time frame, but
it was 26 months to get it done. I got to go back and look at it again, but I just remember The Last Jedi was, because I remember thinking it was going to be Rogue One and then 6 months to The Last Jedi, which I was like,
no, you're right on that one, because Rian Johnson had to rewrite the script and they delayed that one 8 months. But I know for Trevorrow's, I don't even know what they rewrote in the script. God help me. But I know with the Episode 9, it originally was supposed to come out in May when they first announced it. But I'm confident at some time they changed it up. But I think the May release dates would have been better just because of Star Wars tradition. But you also got to think of the competition it would have had in May compared to now.
I mean, but the thing with Solo is everyone goes, Solo failed because nobody wanted to see it. And I'm like, no, Solo failed because Deadpool opened before it. Deadpool leapfrogged it in order to get in front of it when Avengers moved itself forward to give itself more time to not impact Solo. And then here came Deadpool, and it took out 43 million from that box office weekend, which probably would have put Solo over 100, which then would have changed the entire course of the conversation.
Solo just had there was a lot of factors that went into why it failed, and it was just so much bad timing and bad luck with it.
If they would have pushed it to December, though, it would have been fine. I mean, it would have done better. It would have done better.
I mean, but it still wouldn't be a blockbuster, only because, and mind you, I love Han Solo. I got my Falcon here. I mean, I've always loved Han Solo. But when you talk to a lot of Star Wars fans, Han Solo is not like the one that people wanted to see a movie on. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like it was this huge mass appeal around Star Wars fans, unless you were just hardcore Star Wars fans that wanted to see anything related to Star Wars, period. But other than that, I don't think it would have been a huge thing. Now, I personally liked the movie. I had no problem with that. I thought it was good. I thought the acting was good. I know it had a lot of problems with the directors that they ended up firing too. They had a director debacle too with Solo, didn't they?
Yeah, Phil Lord and Chris Miller were the original directors, and apparently they were really hard on set to work with. And I specifically think it was Lawrence Kasdan who had a big problem with the direction they were going in the way they were shooting things. So they brought in Ron Howard, who's a lot easier to work with than the veteran of the game. But those reshoots costed a lot.
Yeah, I mean that hurts. That hurts public perception too when you see things like that.
Do you think that was part of him trying to support his son's first major script, and they wanted to change it too much? And then all those reports of the best script ever. Remember that?
I don't know if it was him defending his son. I know that for sure. That was a condition of him coming back to even do it, because he didn't even want to write The Force Awakens. His big thing coming into this was, hey, I've done the Star Wars thing. How much more do you guys really want to do this? If we're going to do a film, I want to do a Han Solo film. But if you're going to bring me back for that, I want my son involved. I'm pretty confident mostly the problems that they had with the Phil Lord and Chris Miller direction is that when they were shooting scenes, and this was reported from people who were actually on set, you do one shot and you try to get it. You always want to get it done as quick as you can, but they would continue to shoot the same scene and the same shot in many different angles to the point where it was wasting time. And you got to think these guys are directors from 21 Jump Street, that movie, and the Lego movie. I mean, they have a different approach to these kind of things. And Kathleen Kennedy talks about every time she lets go of a director about how it's a process, and they just didn't seem keen to the major blockbuster process of, you have a set schedule, we have to get it done by this point. And they just seem to be taking their time. So it's something you have to ask Lawrence Kasdan and Kathleen Kennedy specifically about, but mostly Lawrence Kasdan, because I feel like he'd give you more honest answer than Kathleen would. Kathleen will tiptoe around it, which is not bad, but just, PR move in a way, which, I mean, it happens.
I do want to ask you guys that know stuff about, movie creation in the background. How do you direct an animated movie? That's always something that's like racked my mind. I'm like, I don't understand how you direct an animated movie.
Storyboards mostly.
Yeah.
And then you just, I mean, I don't know the process. I have friends who are animators. I can ask them if you are like really wanting to know more. But as far as I know, it's just a lot of it storyboarding it, and then you just have the animators come in. They do the scratch track for the vocals they can animate around that. And, you know, it's just a process of just kind of piecing it together. What I find fascinating is watching Disney Plus a lot more now, going back and watching like Alice in Wonderland and Robin Hood and watching the rotoscoping, which I find to be such a fascinating concept. So, like, I love the way old Disney animated stuff. It was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was awesome. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
The old days.
Yeah, but still, days of course, all algorithmically created, right? I mean, give it 5-10 years, and they're going to be able to just like put some numbers into a machine, and then they'll be able to go, okay, we're done.
I have one more hot topic to talk about towards the end of the show, and then we can tell about your channels. And I don't go streaming too long because I know people are busy. I think that makes it more appealing to come on
Friday night. I got all night.
I
My
have no
girlfriend might argue with me.
Okay.
I have no
All
life.
right. So no, go ahead, Chubby.
I was just saying, look at Peyton with the monster. You got a lot of things going on. Whatever. You're drinking a monster on a Friday night.
Yeah.
2? Jeez Louise.
I thought you were going to show your masks, Peyton.
Oh, I had my mask, but
Yeah.
because I was like, okay.
There you go.
Oh,
That's what I like to see.
The OG Harley 4 because I love The Mummy 1999, 2017, or whatever it was with Tom Cruise does not exist.
Yeah.
Haha.
Yeah, I like it.
Oh, that's cool.
Thanks.
All right, so the last topic I was going to talk about was that Disney only cares about virtue signaling with the kiss scene, but then when it hurts them financially, they remove it, and that's the big talking point right now. But here's what hey, you didn't let me finish, Darth Daddy, before he went
I didn't
on.
say anything.
You're shaking your head. You're shaking your head. Can I finish? Can I finish?
I didn't stop you. No, I didn't stop you.
Okay, but these regions, these countries always have little things taken out. And if it made it the rating R, do I necessarily agree that they took it out? No, but it's a reality of getting your movie there. If it made a movie R just to have that scene in it because of the politics and the laws in that country and the rating system, I think, can you criticize them for that? I don't know. That's what I wanted to get your viewpoint on, all of you.
I don't know why there's a lot of controversy around it personally. I think that if you look at this from a studio position, China is a very complicated market to get into, mainly when you're Star Wars and just they select the films that are allowed to be shown there anyways. And so South Park makes a lot of jokes about this too, and their shows and whatnot in the past few seasons, I think. And I think when you look at this, the kiss scene between the two girls, I mean, wasn't that big of a deal in my opinion. It was like, okay, it happened, whatever. Like, it has no impact on the story. And so when you're going it from the point of Disney, it's like, well, first of all, you want to do the whole virtue signaling, like they say, if that's the goal. But to be honest, that's not really their goal. The goal is to make money. It's to make profit, get the stock up, and please the shareholders. That's priority number one. And how do you do that? Well, in America specifically, what's going on right now? Well, you got one side who hates that kind of political stuff, and you got another side who loves it and adores it. So what do? Well, you make it a minor character. You make it a small scene that you can easily cut out to make more profit in places like Singapore and China and everything. So from that standpoint, it was simply does the scene need to happen? No, but why don't we put it in there to appease the North American audiences and people in this side of the country or side of the world, my bad. And how do we make money off of this as well? We also take it out in China where we can really make more money because we've been struggling in that market. It's one of those things where, yes, there's an agenda, but when people say, oh, they're just going at it from I'm right leaning, so I can say a liberal perspective and everything. I don't think it's really that. I don't think they truly care about a political agenda in that sense. If they do, it's only in a North American audience, not really something they want to enforce over there in the Asian markets. But that's just how I look at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, remember Beauty and the Beast from 2017? LeFou was gay, or perceived to be gay, and Russia banned it, and everyone lost their goddamn mind over it.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
Wasn't it Josh?
I remember
what's
that.
his name? Josh Nad or something?
Yeah, Josh Gad. I remember that.
Yeah, his character was the only. I didn't like that movie either way, but I don't know, it didn't bother me.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
no,
I like the one better. The original one was better. Emma Watson is a great actress, and I love her. But a lot of the Disney remakes that have been happening, I feel like they don't have that Disney magic. I will say though, the Mulan trailer that they had before the Rise of Skywalker, that was the only like Disney remake that they're having that I was like, wow, I'm actually kind of feeling this. Like at first I was like, what do you mean you're not going to play the songs? If you're not playing the songs, I'm not going to watch it. But then I watched the trailer. I was like, okay, you kind of got me. You hit my nostalgia button. So I might go see that one just because I like the original one so much.
My daughter kind of we're sitting there watching Rise of Skywalker and we're watching the Mulan trailer. I'm like, this is cool. And me and my daughter have had this habit now for a very long time, where we run around the house randomly singing "Be a Man." We love this song.
I'm sure you do.
Me and her have been singing this song since she was about 7. She's 21 now. And so at the theater, I literally belt out "Be a Man," and she turns to me and she goes, "Dad, it's not going to be in the movie." I'm like, "What?
Yeah,
it's not going to be in the movie."
It's like the best part of the original film,
right?
Huh?
Sorry, when you say "be a man," are you talking about "I'll make a man out of you"?
Yeah. I'll make a man out of you.
Damn,
I got you. Does this constantly? Swift as a raging. Yes, I love that song.
I like it.
Yeah, don't get me started. I'll start singing.
I like it, Longa. You got your helmet already customized, ready for
this was a regular one, and I put my own Sith alchemy lines into it.
Are you going to Celebration? Because I think Star Wars only and Peyton might. I don't know about you, Jarbo.
If I can afford it, yeah. I got my all my excess cash I had has all been dumped into my novel. So I have invested probably about $4,000 into that novel. So we'll see how that
It'll
goes.
pay off. It'll pay off, man.
Yeah.
Jarbo, are you going? Did we lose you, Matt?
He's on mute.
He's singing Mulan or something.
Yeah. Oh, so what did you think about that, Peyton? Do you think it's controversy, or do you think it's just? Jarba's back.
Huh?
Yeah, no, I was here. Sorry, it was loud where I was. I'm mobile right now, so.
Okay.
I want to go to Celebration if I can get tickets. We'll see, but I really want to go. So.
It's in.
That's all she wrote.
It's in what, Anaheim, isn't it?
Yeah, California, Anaheim, last week of August, I think.
Yeah, which is my birthday, by the way. My birthday's the 23rd, so I like.
Oh, great way to celebrate.
I go, this is what I want for my birthday. So.
I don't think I'm going to make it this time. I'll try to go next time when things are different too. Hopefully.
What's the killer is from? I mean, I'm in Chicago, and it's just like flying out to California, man. You're talking minimum. I mean, if you get a good deal, you're maybe you're getting it for 400 round trip. But other than that, you're talking about at summertime. You're talking about what? Maybe probably $600 round trip flight just to get to California.
I live here, so it's free for me.
All right. Hold on. I'm having phone problems. I'm going to log right back in.
Sure thing.
I got double Jarbos in my backstage.
I've never gone. I mean, how much are the weekend passes for Celebration?
Like 100 a pop, I think, something around there.
Yeah. That's not bad. The tickets
they're really not bad. The bundle one is like the most expensive, but they've sold out really fast. But there's I will recommend if you're gonna buy them, they have an official third-party system called Lite, because if you buy them through Facebook or you buy them through like I did something stupid. I bought it through StubHub. Now the way the Celebration works is that there's panels, and in order to get into these panels, you get a lottery ticket or a lottery code, and you got to enter the lottery system. And if you don't have the code, which you can only get from the official email that you buy the ticket, it's confusing, and it's not a easy process. So it's one of those things where if you want to stop the third party system messing everything up and selling out the tickets really fast, like those Jedi VIP master passes, which are like $1,000 a pop. Yeah. Those are great, but since everyone buys them, all these people who sell them through third-party sites, they buy them out when they instantly go. Now, I guess the idea would be not to let them make money off it, so they're kind of stuck with them in a way because they buy them in bulk. And
yeah,
so
see,
it's
that much I wouldn't be able to spend. I mean, I'll do 200, 250 for the tickets. You know, if there's a.
oh yeah, you should be good for the weekend too. And honestly, sometimes I in Chicago, I didn't even go all 4 or 5 days that they had. I took one, I think it was Saturday or Sunday off, where I just went to downtown Chicago and tried out the pizza that was extremely overrated, but still pretty good.
Hey! Wait a minute. Where did you go? Well, we'll talk about this on Sunday because you're gonna be at my show.
Wait,
on Sunday.
Yeah.
The next one's in Anaheim, right? It's in Anaheim, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, Anaheim.
Okay, cool. That's easier for me because I can fly right into. I go to VidCon right there at the Anaheim Convention Center. So like I'm sorry. Did I go to VidCon this year?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is my 3rd year in a row. I went to VidCon.
Oh, this is my 2nd year.
Nice. I found it to be boring this year.
Super boring. I was like, what is the point of this?
Yeah, I'm not even gonna go next year. I only went because Comic-Con was the week after. So I did VidCon, and then I went to Galaxy's Edge with my brother, and then we drove down to San Diego, where he lives. And then I spent the week in San Diego, which is where I used to live, and I miss San Diego a lot.
Okay.
But yeah, VidCon kind of sucks since Viacom took over. So
yeah,
what you gonna do?
True.
Do you think it's gonna be dead silent about the next Star Wars movie till Celebration, or you think we're gonna get some type of announcement?
Next month?
We're supposed to get a director announcement next month.
Oh, there is? I didn't know that.
It's not official, but like I believe it was the Hollywood Reporter of Variety. People who have normally the best sources on these kind of things are.
Did it come from Doom? Did it come from Doomcock?
I don't take anything that guy says seriously at all. I mean,
isn't Keanu Reeves having a Star Wars trilogy?
Oh God, I hope not.
That's what is of his videos.
Yeah, everyone's screaming for Revan for him to be Revan. Since Revan's canon now, Keanu Reeves is Darth Revan.
It baffles me how much these people pretend like they're really big George Lucas fans, but then they'll say something like, "I want Keanu Reeves in Star Wars," and it's like, "Oh, so you don't know anything about George Lucas at all? You don't know a damn thing about the man."
To be fair, I get your point, but I would go see Keanu in lots of things.
Oh, I would too. He's a phenomenal actor. But
I love him. I do love Keanu, and I love him in a lot of things. But if I hear his voice as a Jedi, or I'm gonna be like, I just no, please.
Right. Whoa, I got the Force. Whoa.
I would be seeing Keanu Reeves. I wouldn't be seeing Darth Revan being played by Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd be like, yeah, well, he's a badass in general, because I mean, when it actually comes to training for John Wick, he actually does the stunt stuff and everything, and so I could see him taking a role in Star Wars seriously and actually doing kendo training. And I know I have some friends who have been doing martial arts longer than I've been alive, who have black belts in that, and so watching those guys go at it with those swords are really awesome. So I'm sure he'd take it seriously and be one of the best roles. But yet again, it would be like, oh my God, bro, did you see John Wick just kill 20 Jedi? It's like, no, it's Darth Revan. Like, no, it's John Wick. It's that guy in that one movie.
I could see him playing like a Chirrut character. I could see him being like a Wills, or something like that. This deep, faithful, guy who meditates on the Force and the faith, and that I could see him doing. But Darth Revan,
just imagine that scene, right? When there's that realization, and someone will obviously say, "You're Darth Revan," and he'll just go, "Whoa." And everyone would be like, yeah, you know what? I bought it. I bought it 100%. Let's do it. All right, let's keep going. Fuck. I'd be down for that. Down for that.
Keanu Reeves is a Mary Sue in the next Star Wars. You would expect him to beat everybody.
He already was the chosen one. I mean,
he
was.
He was Jesus in one franchise. Right. He can do it again.
Pretty much. You have everyone saying that they're destroying Anakin's legacy.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God!
But then they won't have anything to say against Keanu because it's like another white guy who has like long hair.
I'm laughing my ass at people that are just like, it destroyed Anakin's legacy. Do you not understand the philosophy of yin and yang and going out of balance? It's not like a one-time thing.
Yeah.
I know. It might lose its way a little bit. Like someone else is like, sometimes it's like it might find its way, but then breaks apart, and someone else needs to fix it. It's like not a one-time fix-all thing. So it's like he restored balance for that time.
Yeah, they had like 30 years of peace.
Yeah.
I'm not even.
Exactly what I said yesterday. I did a live stream on the virtual dictionary, and someone was talking about how they destroyed Anakin's legacy. I go, his legacy as the chosen one was to bring balance to the Force, not you are to kill Palpatine. That wasn't what it was. It was to bring balance, and he did. And now it's like 30 years later, and it's out of whack again. Like you don't get a alignment on your car like once told. You got to bring it back every so often to get realigned. It happens.
I think the people that are, and this is going to sound like kind of mean, but I mean it for a fact. The people that are really upset about this probably believe that every time they see a movie with a happy ending, that there's never a problem ever again.
Yeah.
Happily ever after.
Yeah. Just like when they saw National Treasure 2, and then they realized that the two main characters had broken up because of their differences. That just shattered their worldview.
That shattered mine down.
Yeah, it broke my heart.
So, like, Nick Cage, how did you screw up being with Diane Kruger, sir? Like,
It's Nick Cage.
That is true. Nick Cage. Bless his
Put
soul.
the bunny down. Fucking weirdo.
So how did you feel when Thor came back and Jane was just gone? And it's like, yeah, we broke up.
I was sad.
They should.
Because I thought Ragnarok was a better movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the funny thing I always thought when we talk about destroying Anakin's legacy and this and that, I mean, I may be wrong, but I mean, I've seen a lot of the times the people that really, really hate the sequel trilogy and everything that encompasses it are usually kind of big EU fans. And it's like, Palpatine came back there too, right?
Oh, you can't mention that. You can't mention the hypocrisy of the expanded universe. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. And I came to this realization, I think, a year ago, where I was like, you know what? In hindsight, I wish the expanded universe had never happened because it has created such an elitist part of the fandom where they say it has to go. And I know I'm not saying that the expanded universe is bad. There are definitely great books in there. My favorite one is probably Darth Plagueis, just because of the proper storytelling of the dark side and the midichlorians, but you have a group of fans who are literally impossible to please. And if you mention the fact, did you know that the expanding universe was never once, not even ever considered canon by a man named George Lucas? Nope. You're wrong. I have a YouTube video.
He licensed it. No, he wanted money.
Yeah.
He wanted money.
Oh yeah. Any criticism we have for Disney is applied to Lucas as well in that time frame. I mean, he wanted the money. He got the money. He got $4 billion. He can cry me a river. Love the man to death. I would do anything in the world for the man. But I mean, he knew what he got himself into, and the expanding universe was something he didn't care too much about simply because it was something that made him money. But in terms of story, what did they think was going to happen with his episode 7, 8, 9? Did they think they were going to do a Thrawn trilogy or Yuuzhan Vong War? No, he was going to say, "Oh, that expanded universe shit. What is the EU? European Union? I don't know anything about that. We're going to go do our own thing." He would have done it all by himself.
And all indications of it too were he before the Disney deal, when all the EU stuff was going on, even though it was a 9 episode saga, he literally gave up after the prequel, saying, you know what, fuck this, I'm not doing an episode 7, 8, 9. So he didn't even have any intentions of really doing it. So he's like, whatever, it makes people happy. It'll live on in the EU and they can write what they want.
I think he did actually want to do it, right?
He did definitely. Around 2011, he was writing scripts for it.
What killed it was Red Tails. No one ever talks about Red Tails because it wasn't a good movie.
No, George Lucas is a saint and the great filmmaker. He never did anything wrong. What is this Red Tails you're speaking of?
It's a movie I paid to go see. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, you poor son of a bitch.
You know what? The projector broke down during the preview, so they gave us all tickets to go back, and I ended up using the ticket to go see John Carter about a month and a half later. So I think I got my. And I love John Carter, so there's that. But I mean, Red Tails. If you go back and you find Lucas' interview leading up to Red Tails, he was so excited for that movie. He'd been trying to tell that story for a long time, put his money into it. He wanted to do something that was going to be monumental. And his energy and passion is what sold me on going to see it opening weekend. I'm like, I want to see this movie. George Lucas is all behind it, man. I'm down for that. And it just wasn't very good. Then he did that other one, that animated movie that no one ever talked about. We had that at my drive-in. And I had to sit through that movie a lot.
I don't even remember the name of it, but I remember that being one of the last.
Strange Magic.
Strange Magic. Yes,
I like Strange Magic.
Me too.
I love them. I love them.
I've never seen it, but that was like one of the ones that it wasn't even the nail in the coffin because I think that came out after the Disney purchase, but that was something he was producing, and it didn't sit well with a lot of kids. It wouldn't have mattered either way, but he produced more movies than he's ever directed and written, but when it comes to some of the producing, since he's not a part of the Hollywood system, it just, I don't know, man, it didn't really go well for him.
I actually like Strange Magic. And as far as you guys saying it was producing the sequels, I 2011 or whatever, I remember hearing him about he was doing that TV series, that Bounty Hunter
Underworld.
Yeah, right. I remember that. I remember that. 2005 or something.
That's what I heard about.
What happened with that?
He was actually knee deep in that right up until the Disney acquisition, and that's right before that when they gave up on it because they were selling to Disney.
I don't know when they gave up on it.
What happened with that?
Well, I know for sure what happened was they had a lot of writers come in and they were writing out stories. One of the most interesting ones that I really was fascinated with was the idea that every single episode would be about a different character in the Star Wars universe. Like you would have one about Jango Fett. The best one, in my opinion, was about Emperor Palpatine and what really turned him towards the dark side. And it was supposed to be that he had his heart broken by a woman, and she was supposed to be a very evil woman too, and everything. Truly great ideas, stories. But you also got to think this was before the era of Breaking Bad, Walking Dead, the Game of Thrones, where you could spend millions of dollars on
anthologies.
Yeah, you could spend all the money on these episodes in production and get a huge payoff. He was making this when there wasn't a lot of TV shows or I don't even know what you call them, production companies that would really hop on board with this and publish these kind of things. So he had the idea going, but it was just the wrong time. That's one of the great things about George Lucas, you can say in hindsight, is that every single thing he has done, except for Red Tails, has been ahead of its time. And if he had waited to make that Underworld show, probably into the mid 2010s, with the decade we're wrapping up now, it could have happened and it could have been a great show, but it was just the timing of everything. There wasn't the money for it. Lucasfilm, though it had a lot of money, it didn't have enough money to do $10 million per episode. His vision for these things was just so different. But you got to think, imagine it now, the way they have the Mandalorian with that virtual room technology. If he would have had that back then, it could have been a go. It could have been a go because Lucas is a big digital buff like that.
Yeah, and so and he was cutting edge with the prequels, and that CGI was horrendous.
Oh yeah, CGI is awful in that. I mean, it truly is not as great as you would think.
That was cutting edge for the time.
There's a few things. There's a lot of cutting edge stuff there.
There is. Don't get me wrong. It dawned digital technology that we have now with film making, at least.
I mean, but you can see there's a massive change from Fandom Menace to Revenge of the Sith. You know, I mean, there's like a clear, like visual improvement, and I think the visuals on even Attack of the Clones, like the battle for Geonosis, still relatively hold up. I was just watching that again the other day, and I've also been watching
Yoda.
I like the thing is I like Attack of the Clones. I do.
Yes. I'm with you. I'm not a hater of Attack of the Clones. I don't think it was the strongest, but I was okay with it.
Yeah, I mean,
Star Wars only.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we know you hate
Star Wars
only.
Yeah, I'm open about it.
Got the popcorn sitting back. I'm sitting back too. Take it over, guys.
It's just like in my watching y'all go back and forth. I'm like, all right.
Hey, you had no problem knocking me around, Peyton. Just knock your way.
It's about time someone did. The puppets keep trying. Oh, we didn't have any puppets this time, Peyton.
Yeah, no puppets this time.
They get us into trouble.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You don't want the kids around when the puppets are here.
Would the Mandalorian have happened if there wasn't the backlash? Because remember, they were ready to pull the trigger. That Boba Fett movie with James Mangold was going to happen.
Yeah, that one was canceled like in 2015, though. I mean, right before they were even going to announce it at Celebration, they had footage for it. They were already in like a very early stages of production for it. I mean, they pulled that thing right before the wheels started turning, which is a shame because I really think that could have changed everything we know about the current state of Star Wars, personally.
Well, there was an announcement right around Solo, too, with James Mangold.
Yeah, right after Solo. Yep, I remember that.
That was
right after Solo kind of tanked.
You know, I mean, when you hear Lucas's ideas for the sequels, I don't know if people realize that as much as they hated his Disney stuff, how much there could have been even a bigger backlash with Lucas ideas. I mean, we talk about the microverse and all this, his ideas, his crazy ideas for it. And I honestly think the fans would have had a bigger problem with that than what we got with Disney.
I agree to a fault because I would say I'm one of the biggest advocates for Lucas, but also his biggest critic because I study the man's life and I know what kind of storytelling he does. I think his ideas, don't get me wrong, they're fucking weird, but I think if you have a proper writer and a proper director for it, it would have been great. If Lucas writes the story and he does what he was trying to do with the sequel trilogy and bring in Michael Arndt to write the screenplay, it would have made a lot more sense with the microbiotic. Because what's interesting for me about the microbiotic universe and the midichlorians and the wills is it expands on the mythology of Star Wars. And I don't like being a dead horse and saying I don't like the sequels, but I feel like they didn't expand the mythology of Star Wars. To me, it was just, hey, it's Star Wars again. And you can like it, you can not. It's up for debate. But in terms of the mythology of what the Force is and the whole world expanding idea of it, I think that Lucas would have done something completely new. And he did say that fans would not have liked it like they hated the Phantom Menace. But I also think with Lucas doing it, expectations would have been set a lot lower. Because I remember going into The Force Awakens in 2015, people saying, oh, well, it's not Lucas. We don't need you anymore, Lucas. We got J.J. Abrams and everything. I mean, everyone was really excited to have someone new take the helm of Star Wars because Star Wars is at its best when you have a lot of collaboration. And so I think Lucas took those notes, and I think that fans would have gone in with low expectations into the sequel trilogy, and we would have been either pleasantly surprised or yet again left like what we did with the prequels, but would have been probably more accepting of it. Like, well, it's George Lucas. Like, what'd you expect? So I don't know.
Right. I mean, I would have been the same way. I mean, when you're talking about it, on a pure mythological level and the universe expanding, I would have been like, what's this? But then if the story all jived together with the universe and it all tied it together, I would have been okay with it. You know what I mean? And I could have dealt with it and not been like upset. I'm just talking about the fandom in general, especially.
Oh yeah, no, the fans would have hated it. I mean, we're Star Wars fans.
I thought Disney was going on a good trek with Rogue One when he started talking about the wills and the faith, and I thought they were going to start heading down this expanding road of the mythology. But
I think they will with season 2 of The Mandalorian.
Yeah,
I think the wills. I think that's going to tie in. I mean, basically, it's you look at the end of season 2, and it's like, well, clearly this is Dave Filoni. Filoni's definitely the one kind of calling the shots for this, where the story's going for season 2, and I'm okay with that.
Order storyboarding it. I don't think it's. I mean, people are. Well, don't get me wrong. As far as just the directing, like Deborah Chow was fantastic, obviously, and she's the strongest director of all of them. But I think the ideas, even though Favreau's writing most of it and he's overseeing it, I think they're all storyboarding this together. I think there's a consensus upon them, and they're adding this and adding that, and they're putting it all together. So obviously the Darksaber, that's all Filoni, and stuff like that. And they're taking heavily probably from stuff with Rebels. But even though I was going through the visual dictionary, there's a lot of Rebel stuff going on in Rise of Skywalker too. That's kind of just Easter egg hidden, layered in there. You know what I mean? Because they talk about the world between worlds in there in the Jedi text that they had, and they mentioned the Purgle, the whales. That's where the Wayfinders got the technology. That they got it from the Purgles and stuff too. So there's a lot of other stuff going in there too. So I see that coming in, but I think that's why this is so good, because it's not just one person's vision. I think they're all putting it together. You know what I mean?
I'm 110% confident Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau smoke a bunch of weed together when they're thinking of story ideas for the show, and they're just going, dude, what if we had a baby version of Yoda? And then John's like, yes, that's great, and they go with it.
Was the Taika Waititi episode also strategic? Is he going to be doing a Star Wars film of his own?
Nah, I don't think he'd be doing a Star Wars film personally, but it wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility either. But it's one of those things where he's one of those I'd say more indie style directors. Like, he's unique. He's got his own style to it. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they brought him in, but I don't know if they just see one episode of his and say, you get your own trilogy or own film. I think if anybody, it'd be Jon Favreau or
I think anything is possible, especially with Feige even coming in. I mean, I think they're going to blow the lid off everything. There's it's gonna be just like Marvel, where they just bring all these different people talented. I mean, hopefully not like Marvel, because we don't want that cookie cutter Marvel stuff with Star Wars. But I mean, I think they're gonna have this range of talent come in to do things. That's what I hope happens.
Okay, Cap and K brought up something. Is it still a possibility that Rian Johnson might direct in Mandalorian season 2? I think that's how they might try to have him save face for his non-existent trilogy.
As long as Favreau's still in control of it, yeah, I'm good.
As long as he doesn't write it, sure.
Right.
Totally.
He's been known for TV shows as well. I mean, if you've seen his episode of Breaking Bad, he's directed my least favorite, but also my favorite episode of that show. He's a talented director. I just think he's an awful writer. And when it comes to, I hate saying it, but I feel like he's one of those guys, and this sounds like a classic film student in college, like I am. He's just one of those guys that I think he thinks he's a lot smarter than he is when it comes to writing the script. And that's just my biggest problem with him. But he's a great director.
Yeah, I think the subverting expectation. I'm sorry, go ahead, Peyton.
I was saying, I really liked Knives Out, and so for people saying he's got a maybe terrible writer, director, whatever, but Knives Out, I enjoyed.
Okay, yeah, it's a good film. It's a good film. I just there's a few elements of it I didn't like, but overall, I enjoyed the film for what it was, and I'd watch it again at home.
Yeah.
What I see when he's in a self-contained universe, when he's making a Rian Johnson film, he knows what he's doing. I just think he didn't know how to play in a
Star Wars
expanded universe, not just Star Wars. I mean, I think if you put him in any other kind of movie that's a series, he wants to make a Rian Johnson film, which works when you're making your self-contained universe. When you're trying to piece together something that's part of a bigger thing, you can't make a Rian Johnson film. You can give it Rian Johnson flavor, but you can't make a Rian Johnson film. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he should have followed the strategy that JJ had set up, but he didn't. He just went.
Yeah, I really agree with that. I really wonder how different the sequel trilogy would have gone if they followed the drafts of J.J. Abrams. But that also goes back to one of those things where it's lost in translation on the production side of things, where Ryan comes in and says, well, they didn't give me anything past episode 7. And then JJ's like, well, I had scripts and drafts for it, and Ryan just kind of went his own direction with it. It's weird.
I tend to believe that there was something. I maybe not as detailed as JJ makes it sound, but I think there was something, and Ryan's like, nah, I'm just gonna do this.
Kennedy admitted it. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly. She said that they had a room where they whiteboarded out all 3 movies.
There you go.
So it's, because they if they're setting up an arc, they have to then also get to the end point of the arc.
Right.
So it's otherwise it just comes across as really weird. But Johnson made his own movie, and he kind of said screw it, and Kathleen Kennedy let him. I don't know.
They're friends. She really likes him.
Sorry about that.
No, I get that. I get that they're friends, but it's maybe what it is. It's okay. So if you look at let's say Kathleen Kennedy on just a producer level, she's worked on franchises, a number of franchises, but she's also never run anything herself, and that's the biggest problem here. Is I think that's her greatest mistake is The Last Jedi. I mean, and that's why she probably begged JJ to come back and fix it. So,
I think so too.
What were we gonna say, Peyton?
Oh no, I was gonna say that was just the thing with JJ with 7 and 9, that those just felt more connected. I feel like it didn't happen, and you don't even need to see 8, because I feel like 9 kind of takes off where 7 was. That's why it felt so long, and why it felt so much in 1 was just because kind of like we said before, that he had to jam in the slight ideas he had for maybe 8 and readapt to what Ryan had, and then tell the rest of the story how he would have told it. I think is there a big mistake to have a whole new director in the very middle, which is also huge, supposed to be a big important part, but we got the beginning, we got the end, and I feel like that was the only thing that made sense, because 8 just was its own subgenre.
Yeah, episode 9 feels like a sequel to episode 7, not a sequel to episode 8.
Well, and to be fair, he wasn't JJ wasn't he all he was going to do was the Force Awakens, and the different directors for each are fine if you have a head of creative, if you have a plan, if you Feige it, basically, you know what I mean. If you have someone who's in charge who says, and if Kathleen Kennedy didn't feel comfortable then you hire someone to be in charge of it, and then that person, whatever directors will bring in, they can still have their freedom to express themselves as a director, but you're still going to answer to the head of creative to say, listen, this is the arc we have, this is the plan, you have to fall within these parameters for this to work. And that would have been fine. That's what I'm saying. Rian Johnson would have been fine as a director. It would have been fine if you had 3 different directors, as long as you had someone in control of creative, not trying to make this sequel trilogy an anthology.
And do it.
Yeah. I think that would have been a great role for Lucas to fill, even while getting rid of the franchise. Because if you even look at, and I know people, I don't even want to talk about the prequels, but you look at the original trilogy, the way that was planned out. Of course, they winged it as they went along, but Lucas, he wrote episode 4. That didn't go to plan. That was saved in editing, basically. But then you get to Empire Strikes Back. You have a director like Irvin Kershner, who is one of the, and actually the only director I know to this day to look at Lucas and say no. And him and Gary Kurtz even told Lucas, and this is one of like the more embarrassing moments of Lucas's life in directing, is that he did his own edit of Empire Strikes Back, and it was just awful. I mean, it was just terrible, and he blew up about it because they didn't like his version, and I don't know what to talk about it, but he had a lot of control in the story department for the original trilogy, but the final say ultimately went to the director. But he still had a direction of where the story was going. And when you have him making those decisions with the prequel trilogy, you get what happened with that, where some of those characters are a little off, the story is a little messy. But if he would have done the same thing with the sequel trilogy, or if they would have at least gotten all the directors ahead of time instead of bringing in Colin Trevorrow in 2015, 2016, where he wasn't involved with those story decisions. And that's something Kathleen Kennedy even said in a recent interview, is that he was at a disadvantage for not being involved in the storyboard talks. If they would have planned it out kind of like that, and have someone in the Lucas role of saying, I know how the story's going to end, but you can kind of fill in the gaps. They should have done that with the sequel trilogy. They should have had Ryan, JJ, and Colin in a room and say, guys, we're going to put you in this room for a fucking month. Figure it out. Plan it out the way you want to. And I think
the way Brian envisions things, it would have been great as long as you had that structure. You could have subverted expectations within that structure.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to Ryan, I'll admit this to The Last Jedi, because I was not a fan of The Rise of Skywalker at all, but I also really did not like The Last Jedi for the story decisions. He made a good point of at least challenging us, the fans, on what Star Wars is. The prequels didn't really challenge us. Empire Strikes Back did in terms of character building, and Return of the Jedi took it into a different story direction that felt natural for that story. But The Last Jedi challenged the audience. I don't think The Rise of Skywalker did personally, and that's okay. But I think if you're doing, and Ryan made a good point about this, and it's weird because I did not like his film at all, but he makes a lot of good points with Star Wars, where he says that you don't want every Star Wars film to feel like another Star Wars film. You want it to feel it's like its own and a unique thing. And that's a great point, because they did feel their own thing. They did feel unique when the original trilogy came out. I mean, there literally was nothing in the world like Star Wars. You go to any film before 1977, and you're never going to see anything close to Star Wars. It revolutionized the film industry. It changed the way we make films. And it's one of the reasons you have so many blockbusters like Marvel to this day. And I think that was a great mentality for Ryan to have, of let's challenge the fans. But if he's going into that solo, and if he's going into that with a mind of, I'm just going to challenge the fans simply for the sake of challenging it without consenting with anybody else, and like JJ or Colin, you're going to get The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
I've actually kind of softened on Ryan a little bit. And I'm one of the first videos that said Rian Johnson's trilogy canceled. But because seeing what thanks Star Wars only. But seeing what they've done with The Rise of Skywalker, and my theory is they kind of went back to what they were originally going to do with the loose outline. My theory is it was a loose outline. Maybe Ryan did know about the loose outline, and it would have just been Snoke instead of the Emperor 9, and that's why they had to get Luke out of the picture before 9, so it wouldn't be Luke and the Emperor again in 9, and the redemption of Kylo, and they only kind of hinted at that in The Last Jedi, where he's like, no, he had the chance to go with Rey and he didn't. They already covered that, and then they're just retreading it. So, you what?
I don't remember it, so you might have to re-explain this to me.
And after the throne room scene in The Last Jedi, where he extends his hand to Rey, and then he doesn't go with her at all. So he didn't pull the trigger on Leia. So we've dealt with these things before. Right. So maybe he knew a loose outline, and it's like, this is BS, just copying the original trilogy. So I kind of have a little bit more sympathy for him. I'm no fan of Ryan.
Yeah. I don't have bridge towards him. I just don't like his film.
But after seeing the reality of The Rise of Skywalker, is it possible the loose outline is exactly what we got, and we kind of got 2 movies in 9, and it wouldn't have gone anywhere? It would have just been cookie cutter.
Well, I would have been okay with cookie cutter than this Frankenstein. You know what I mean? I would have been okay with cookie cutter at least, because if you think about it, the prequels were cookie cutter. It's not like there was anything, you know, I mean, it kind of went along what we thought was going to happen, you know, because we knew from ideas and stuff written and stuff like that about Darth Vader's history and Palpatine. So it's not like, but we were okay with it. You know what I mean? That's fine. And like you said, oh, is his trilogy canceled? I think if they just gave him his own trilogy and not did The Last Jedi, that his own trilogy would have been fine, because he was dealing with his own toys. You know what I mean? His own toys in his section of the Star Wars universe, and he could have, and it would have been fine. But that middle movie, man, and the middle movie, it's that runner in the relay race that passes the baton, and he just dropped it 3 times. And
yeah, it's easily the most
lightsaber, you know.
Chucked it off a cliff. He didn't drop it. He just chucked it.
Yeah. You can tell the audience's reaction to The Last Jedi, because The Rise of Skywalker is going to outpace it this weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the likelihood of it crossing. It made $661 million. The Last Jedi did domestically. And this one looks like it's going to potentially get close to that, within a week or two. I mean, it's making money. And that's the whole point, is like, you can't sit there and say that the audiences aren't responding because they keep going multiple times.
Yeah.
Rogue One came out with a year from Last Jedi. This has had a big gap. That's also affecting it too.
Like a year and a half between this one and
so that
Solo Star Wars story.
So that's really going to give a push. And then the finality of this is going to be it for a while, and they're not announcing a new movie. That's going to help it. Along with people seem to want to watch it again that are fans of it.
Oh, the strength of Disney Plus. I mean, when you would have this 2-3 year gap, and then we're just going to be getting these things from Disney Plus, Kenobi, Cassian Andor, Mandalorian, and if they stay strong like this, the next movie that comes out, it's gonna break records.
Oh, man, I'm gonna have a job for 3 years. Thank God.
let me ask you guys this though: do you think that the success of The Mandalorian is going to help the box office for Rise of Skywalker this weekend?
I think so.
Yeah, it already has.
I think it is, yeah. I mean, it's like it's why I keep saying right now is a great time to be a fan. You don't have to love everything,
right?
But if you look at what we have just in the last couple months, you know, I mean, Mandalorian is seriously the best damn show I've seen all year. And I'm ranking it above Watchmen, and I loved Watchmen. Jedi Fallen Order is such a good game.
Oh yeah.
I just beat it the other night. The ending was spoiled for me accidentally. But I was so pissed off, but it didn't lose its impact. I'm not ruining it, but I still like the ending a lot. I was like, I had a smile on my face the whole time. I was like, that's awesome.
I still have to buy it.
You gotta get it, man. You gotta get it. Yeah.
It is a really good game.
Started playing.
You could do it right now. Best Buy's got it for like $40, I think, until either the 28th. I think tomorrow. So you can get it for a good price if you have consoles. And then, I mean, you've got Rise of Skywalker, which mileage may vary. Was only like
no, not at all.
Which don't worry, I'm going to change your mind on that.
No,
and because I'm seeing it again next week, and I had to go see it, and that'd be my 3rd time seeing it. So I really enjoyed it. But just in general, it's a good time to be a fan because they're giving us, and that's interesting.
Yeah. There's content that's out for a lot of different varieties of fans, and also, I mean, we talked about the year and a half gap between this one and Solo. You guys got to remember, 2018 was probably one of the worst years to be a Star Wars fan. we were just covering from The Last Jedi, and I mean, at least on YouTube and Twitter, just the internet's an awful place in general. But I mean, the vibe of Star Wars truly was weird in 2018 because Solo, I mean, people like it, people didn't. It just kind of fell flat in the fandom. I mean, it's a very forgettable movie in the sense of looking back on like, oh yeah, did that movie come out? You guys remember Solo? But 2018, there was so much animosity in the fandom against the Last Jedi and against Star Wars in general and what was going to happen. I mean, every day you had videos of Kathleen Kennedy's going to get fired and the Lucasfilms attacking the fans. It was just a bad time. But we didn't have any content either. I mean, what was it? Resistance that was coming out, and I mean, I haven't seen a single episode of it because it's not geared towards a guy in his 20s. But
I'm a guy in my late 30s, and I've watched season 1 and I liked it. It's definitely aimed at kids. It's kind of like. It's like watching Clone Wars, right? You know how the first half season of Clone Wars is real rough to get through?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, I'm watching it on the chronological order for kind of like my first run through, and it makes it a lot more palatable to get to watch. It's a lot
better of a show in chronological order, and it makes sense with the movie, too. It actually makes the movie seem slightly better.
It does. I was surprised at that, too, because I remember being very excited in 2008 for the Clone Wars movie. And I kind of pressured my boss at the drive-in to get it. I'm all like, dude, animated Star Wars movie, man. Everyone's going to come out for this motherfucker. And he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, I swear to God. How long have I worked here? A decade? Yeah, I'm telling you the truth, man. No one saw it. But I liked it. But really what it was is like, yeah, it's a good show, but it's hard to get through that first, like the typical television show where it's like, let's establish the characters. Every character gets their own episode. Then we can finally move into the story. Resistance does that, and it does it. It does it, but it's as it starts getting towards the end of the season, as we start seeing a lot more of the First Order, you get a lot more Phasma. Not a great deal more, but you get a lot. You get more. You get more Poe Dameron, and like he pops up every once in a while, and it's Oscar Isaac who's voicing him, and like they go on missions. So you also do a little bit of a lead in into the Force Awakens, like. You get to see. I don't want to ruin it, but there's a couple things you get to see that tie directly in, and then there's a major tie-in with it for the season 1 that ties in the Force Awakens, and then I think season 2 takes place after the Last Jedi, so it's dealing with the aftermath of that as well as leading into the Force or to the Rise of Skywalker. So it takes a bit more of a mature turn. Like there's. A lot of good characters. There's a lot of good action sequences. I mean, it's like there's a lot of good dogfighting, and some of the camera angles are pretty dope. And yeah, I mean, it's again, mileage is going to vary, but I think it's a solid show for what it is. And a lot of people just didn't really want to give it a shot because maybe the animation seemed a little bit too kid friendly.
I might check it out. I'll probably watch that before Rise of Skywalker.
Can we give a little shout out here? Peyton is like highlighting how her dog is so much better than the dog is barking in the background.
Yeah, did you see her in the chair? I mean,
I was sitting here listening to you guys talk, trying not to laugh.
Come here, Callie. She's ripping up stuff in the back. My dog. I got a Aussie, and she's crazy.
Yeah, not Peyton's dog. It's like chilling. It's having a good time, sitting on its own little chair.
Well, I have a madhouse. I have a mad wife and a madhouse. So, yeah.
Max, do the dishes. God damn it.
Well, I kind of want to end the stream soon, but I want to. What was I going to say? Oh, you guys make me lose my train of thought all the time.
Oh, yeah. It's all our fault.
You do, man.
There's lots of things that make them. There's lots of things that make that happen.
Yeah.
But
don't blame us.
Don't start again, Daddy. What are your thoughts on that? The stuff that's been presented to Disney has been overwhelmingly received better than their planned stuff. What I mean is like Rogue One. That was someone in Lucasfilm that had an idea. They presented it and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's a great idea." Favreau wrote the first 3 episodes before he presented to Disney for Mandalorian. So this is the better content of what they were planning, in my opinion. Maybe yours differ. So that's the thought. That's what I wanted to get your thoughts on before we go, and then pimp your channel on the way out. I don't go past 2 hours. This isn't no Fandom Menace stream.
Oh. Well, ladies first. I'd love to hear Peyton's thoughts on this.
Yeah, Peyton, let's hear what you got to say.
Sorry, what?
What are your thoughts on that? The stuff that's been presented to Disney that they okayed with is more well received than the stuff they planned out. Like Rogue One was someone that worked in Lucasfilm that had an idea and they pitched it, and they're like, "Yeah, this is a good idea," and people liked Rogue One. Mm-hmm. And then the Mandalorian, they were going to do Boba Fett or something else in a TV series, but Favreau wrote the whole first 3 episodes before he presented to Disney, and that's when they gave the okay. So that's better received than their actual plans.
Well, I think it's just because it lends to something different, and it's because like right now with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, it's just been a Skywalker saga and characters we know or we're expecting, whereas the Mandalorian is out of left field. Like we know what it is, but it's a character we've never seen. It's droids we never maybe have seen, and it's a different storyline and a different take on it. And I think also with Rogue One, obviously you knew all these characters were going to die because they're not in any of the future ones. So these are also just random characters, and it's a different side story, and more than just what we know. And like while I love the nostalgia, and that's why I think I liked 9, you also do want something a little bit different. And I think that gave it to everyone to like still like kind of expand a universe, but just like this is other things going on besides just, it's not always about the Skywalkers. There's also the Mandalorian. There's also Rogue One and the Rebels, what they had to do. It's like kind of seeing a behind the scenes of the main story. So I think that's probably why it did so well, because people want something to relate to, not just
so that
force mighty Skywalker, I guess.
That's a good take. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't want to push through, but I really got to say this. I get sick and tired of hearing this. I get an idea. I had the floor. They have the people from outside are giving ideas. No, they're all Disney. Okay, let's stop with this outside people, inside people. They're all Disney. Okay, and Kathleen Kennedy, if you want to say she's not outside, because guess what? She was promoted to president by Lucas right before the signing. That's Lucas's girl, okay? That's who's in charge of this. And everything that you're seeing is still under her purview. So it's not like you can say, oh, there's stuff better presented from other people outside of Disney and people presented their plan in Disney. No, it's all in Disney, okay? It's all coming from the same group of people, and Kathleen Kennedy greenlights whatever's going on for all of it. So it's a perception thing, and you want to make it seem like, oh, well, it's better. Now, can you say I like this director better than that director? Yeah. Can you say I like this writer better than that writer? Yeah, of course. But it's still all Disney. It's not like George Lucas himself came and handed something to them and saying, here, produce this, and it'll be a hit. That's not what happened.
All right. Thanks,
he's got a good point.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you got to follow it up, Matt.
Yeah.
Shit.
Oh my goodness, Daddy, you left Jarbo speechless. That's never happened before.
That's why
that's a hard one. Yeah, it's hard to do that. I'm a talkative lad.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think it all came from within internal, and but I think that when they're not dealing with I think they were kind of in a bit of a pickle, if you will, by doing this sequel trilogy, because it wrapped itself up with with the OT and the PT. So doing another one just kind of seemed like it was a business decision rather than just a natural extension of the Star Wars. And you look at Rogue One, and Rogue One as a prequel that leads right into A New Hope. There's obviously a lot of nostalgia there. And they can expand upon that story. Mandalorian taking place after, Jedi allows us to see that world that we never got to see, really. And like the fall of the Empire, after the fall of the Empire. So it's really, when they don't do things that are connected to the Skywalker saga, specifically, I think people are more appreciative of that because there's not as much of a stigma or pressure, Mm-hmm. I mean, all it took for Mandalorian to like get real big was a good trailer, a good soundtrack, and then at the end of the first episode, you get to see a little baby Yoda, and everyone's like, "Wait, what?" And that little mofo has become like the belle of the ball, the cock of the walk, right? Like there are people who don't even watch Mandalorian who love baby Yoda because it's so cute.
There he is. That's Max. That's gonna be my next mask. I'm gonna have to get whenever I come out with a baby Yoda mask. That's when I'm gonna have to do it. And then
oh my god,
that'll get me. 10,000 subscribers just because I'm wearing a mask. There.
It better not be like that Saturday Night Live skit. That was scary. Did anyone see that? They had Baby Yoda on Saturday Night Live, but it's like, no, it's not working. All right. Well, I think that's where we're going to end it. I want to say I'm happy. I'm happy about The Mandalorian. I'm happy that this War Council, I'm happy with all you that are on the panel now. This is what I always envisioned, even if I wasn't included. I love these different conversations. I'd like to try to do this again, or like go on other people's channels, do whatever. But I'm glad we all could come together tonight. I'm happy that everyone in the chat. And I want to say, here's your time to say, this is what I'm planning to do. Oh, this is what I'm planning on my channel. So Peyton, I'll start with you. What are your plans for the next few weeks of content? Huh?
Can you skip me out?
Okay, Peyton doesn't know. Star Wars only.
I mean, my name's self-explanatory. I just cover mostly Star Wars stuff, man. I mean,
really?
Yeah, you'd be surprised, right?
Or some shit. Star Wars.
No, we're doing a boxing only and an MMA only page coming soon. No, I'm playing, but I wouldn't say I have anything planned for the future. Maybe I'm more known for my documentaries now than almost anything else, which is really odd to say. But
is that your new job?
Do what?
Oh, she's trying to find out.
I do want to know. He made it sound very interesting.
Oh,
it's like where did Maz Kanata get Luke's like saber from? That's how interesting this is right now.
I think she's
like that, but no.
I was thinking she was onto something. Those documentaries could get you to open some doors. The way.
Oh no, yeah, for sure. The documentaries can lead to somewhere, and I've talked to people inside the biz, if you will, about them. But they're definitely something that take a long time to make. And there's one specifically that I will say that I'll be trying to interview. This is like one of the hardest people who aren't even involved in Lucasfilm, but definitely involved with the making of Star Wars. I'm trying to get an interview with that person, but that would be, I'd say, the craziest thing I could ever do, because connecting to that person would be just a bit mind-boggling.
Hold on. Can I ask you a question about that real quick? You don't have to give me specifics, but is this person, are they above the line or below the line?
I don't know how to answer that. What do you mean above the line? Like in terms of like where their stances and Lucasfilm?
No. Sorry, above the line is it's an industry term of the people you see in the opening credits of a movie. Those are the above the line people. The below the line people is everyone you see in the end credits.
Well, since it's Star Wars, it's all end credits. But yeah, it's definitely above the line. It's one of the people who gets a lot of It's one of those people who, like, you know, everyone's like, oh, if you know about this person, you really know about the history of Star Wars.
Okay.
Jarber wanted to see if Star Wars only would make a Tom Holland gif. That's
no. I don't want that. I'll talk to you about it off air.
That's awesome.
But I have a way for you to reach out to people. And I just don't want to say what it is on air because it's kind of like a private thing. But we'll talk about it. But I might be able to help you on that front.
No, but yeah, I would greatly appreciate it, because this would be someone who's extremely hard to get in touch with, even from people who have done coverage of this person.
Cool. Yeah. No. When we get off air, let me know, and I'll see I'll see if my advice can help you. I hope it can, but I don't. You know.
By all means, we got nothing but time as well on this one, so it's time is not of the essence, thankfully.
All right. So go sub to Star Wars only if you're not. And this is a small guy talking about a big guy. He's inching up on 50K soon. I'm telling you.
Yes, sir. Hopefully by January.
Nice. Congrats, man.
Thank you.
I just hope to get to 5K one day. I keep losing subs.
Hey, literally, once you get past like the first few milestones, like I think 1,000, and then you hit the 5,000, it gets pretty smooth sailing. The only advice that I've taken pretty well on growing the channel is just staying consistent with your uploads, uploading at a certain time, I guess, but just staying up on it daily really helps out. And I mean, you also got to do it, I guess, in seasons. Like this past month in November and December have been great, not only in terms of money, of course, but just in terms of Star Wars content. There's so much hype around it. People say it's dead, but I mean, my channel has been growing a lot. I know a lot of other Star Wars channels have. That Star Wars Theory guy has been getting like 200,000 views per video, which, boy, that's some money right there. I mean, that's some good dough.
He's also got 2 million subs. He's got 2 million subs. He's actually not pulling in that many views for the types of subs that he has. Which is why we've been seeing from. No, I think he's a great guy. I'm not criticizing.
I disagree.
But you can see he's a good dude. I don't know. Maybe you have a different opinion of him than I do, but I've heard nothing but good things.
Yeah, Yova Rhodes, I'm calling him for the next time. Sure. No, I don't think I'm on his radar at all.
I've tried reaching out to him. I tweeted at him and I sent them an email, but I'm nobody. I'm like, I haven't even hit
I
500.
met him in person at Celebration, and he's I don't know. Another topic for another day.
Is it because he's Canadian? Star Wars only. Is it because he's from? He's from Canada. So
I like people from Canada. They're often quite nice, but this guy, he little man syndrome was as far as I'll say.
Okay.
Oh man. Knives came out. Knives out. Star Wars only.
Why is he gonna go there? You know, I'm only like 5'7". Okay, so let's slow down with little man.
So
man,
he's perfect
George
for you
Costanza, huh?
Ah man, I'll say this: he went after one of my friends on Instagram, and that's what really drove me underneath the bus with him because the kid's like 17 and the dude's like 28, and it really did not sit well with me. And he's and then I don't know if you guys remember that copyright claim thing. That one annoyed me too, but that's another story as well. That one always felt kind of off to me. If I'm being fair, he faked it. I talked to someone who I don't want to say who it is because he told me in confidence, but I will say it's someone who has his number and someone high up there in the Fandom Menace side, and people all on that side love him to death. And I told him, I was like, my big problem with that is I felt like he faked it for views, and he's like, yeah, you're not far off base. And I was like, all right, yeah, you lost all my respect if you're trying to manipulate the fandom for a certain narrative and money. That really
you couldn't make money on the fan film, but there's ways you can make money around it. So,
yeah. Well, why do you think he made two response videos to it that had literally the same amount of views?
Or maybe it included the music on purpose too. That's going way out there.
The music was copyrighted by Warner Chappell, who wasn't even owned by Disney, and he blamed Disney for it, and that's shitty.
Because it's pretty strict in the rules about including music.
Jeez. I like you, Star Wars only. You're pretty awesome, man. That's awesome.
I just keep it honest.
This is great, man. Keeping it real, man.
I watch a lot of YouTubers complain about the copyright system, and those people who know me personally know that, like, I take YouTube as a platform exceptionally seriously. And
cats now.
Oh,
Peyton, I need some of your popcorn for this this part of the discussion here. I just
saying about the copyright thing. It's not hard to avoid or get around and dispute it. I mean, that's really all you have to do is dispute it. I made a documentary about the Phantom Menace called Phantom Menace 20 Years Later, and I got copyrighted for the Weird Al Yankovic video, not even the music, just the video, and I disputed it. And it was taking them a while and everything. And I was like, all right, fine. You know what I'll do to work around it? I'll simply edit it out of the video even while it's uploaded. I might have lost a week's worth of money, but I didn't make a big video about it and calling them out and everything. I would say, I hate to sound egotistical, but I handled it like an adult and not publicly called out a company for something that an intern probably did and then say it was Disney when it was SME. I mean, just, I don't know.
Well, I've had Warner Brothers Content ID claim me for a picture of Batman.
Oh yeah.
Warner Brothers.
I was reading an article, and I had the image of Batman in an article. I didn't even post it, and they got me on it, and then I disputed it, and they did whatever. Yeah. It's a pain in the ass, but then you just kind of go, okay, fine, I work around it or whatever. But yeah, a lot of people play up the oh my God, I'm so wounded by YouTube. Oh, right? They do that because they know that it gets attention. It's like the adpocalypse. Don't get me wrong, like the adpocalypse is fucking terrible. Sorry. It cost me like 55% of my income, you know, like, and when it happened in 2017, I was so upset. Coming off 2016, I was doing well enough. I bought a house, you know, and that's how well I was doing. And I still own the house, thank God, but it's like, you know, I bought the damn house. And then all of a sudden, like, oh, here's the adpocalypse. And I'm like, great. So my girlfriend's pregnant. He just quit her high-paying job because we moved, and then I bought a house. And I'm like, son of a bitch, you know. So I've been there, but yeah, a lot of people play it for effect. So if Star Wars Theory played that up for effect, which I kind of had a feeling that he was doing, that's messed up, man. That's really messed up.
Yeah, I can 110% guarantee you he did. Like, I'm not
so,
even.
hold on. So, let me just back up a second. So what you're saying is that somebody in the Fandom Menace knew about this. I'm just going off what I heard. So somebody in the Fandom Menace.
This is awesome. Look what you did, Star Wars only.
Oh, they're all about integrity. They're all about honesty.
Yep.
They're all about
Some of the popcorn.
I love this. Garbo's freaking out.
No, man. No. I'm merely. I am merely.
You just made his next video.
No, I'm not going to do video. I'm not going to do video on it because I don't have it. I don't have firsthand information. I've got third hand, which apparently is not good enough.
That's better than the Menace.
It's better than what Boycott does.
For Star Wars, what I need you to do is I need you to email me all this
I
information.
told you I wouldn't do it. I'm going to. I gotta end it soon. We can talk.
Wrap it up. All I'm saying is that's messed up. And if people in the Fandom Menace knew about it and they covered it up because it protected their narrative, it's just another reason why the mask is slipping. You just insidious fucks.
Matt, we can talk about it when the stream is over or whatnot. And
ended it hot. Oh, I'm sorry, Peyton. Please come back, Peyton. Don't be this guy.
Awesome.
Peyton, your dog was the best part of this entire stream.
Peyton,
Thank you. Glad to be outshined by my dog. Awesome.
We got to be positive and a Okay,
sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, no, you want to say kind of what, I guess for me, what's upcoming for my channel. The thing is, the reason why I shake my head again is no disrespect to you guys. Is just when it comes to YouTube and when it comes to this whole thing with this Fandom Menace group, we talked about it in the private chat before this. Star Wars only, and you weren't here for it yet. But we can't lump everybody that's in the Fandom Menace together. It's sad that there's a few select people that have made themselves very well known and kind of become the spearheads of it. When Fandom Menace probably started out originally as just people who love Star Wars and were passionate about it and wanted to discuss it, and it turned into this cluster of negativity and hatred and just a really toxic environment. It's sad that this group is now everyone's being lumped together in this one mindset when it's maybe not everyone in the Fandom Menace is bad.
Yep.
Select few people, and we need to remember that. So that's why I catch myself if someone says something about the Fandom Menace. It's not everyone. It's sadly just a select few who've kind of tainted this group, unfortunately. And so it's my thing is I want to be more positive, and that's what I've been trying to do. I was hateful for The Last Jedi. I lost my shit. That's how I started my channel. But I realized it's no use for me to name call Kathleen Kennedy, Disney, Ryan Johnson, people in the comments calling me every curse word and telling me I should die. And even when one of the members of the group made a video about me and I got all this hate shit, we need to get away from that. And I know we get angry, we have to stop ourselves of we really want to lower yourselves to being as hateful as some other people. Try to rise above it and be hey, agree to disagree, respect. You like Last Jedi, that's great. I didn't. This is why. You're an idiot because you didn't like this, or you're a fucking moron because you didn't like this, or you did like it. It's just we need to step away from that. So it's I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but just you guys all seem cool, but just let's moving forward, not be so angry and not give so much attention to negative things and try to be more positive, because eventually. What Ray said in The Rise of Skywalker, I know you want me to hate, but I won't. Okay. And that's what made her so powerful, is not giving into the hatred and anger of the dark side and whatnot. It's just finding that common ground, like the Gray Order or the Gray Code, to just be neutral. And we can talk about Star Wars without going so deep and becoming a bully, So it's just that's what I'm trying to do, is still talk about what we love, but be more respectful to one another when we do it.
You make a great point.
Sorry, that's my only soapbox. Is
that's awesome.
Hatred, and maybe that's why my channel hasn't grown, because I'm not giving into that. Because I rather have followers who are kind than people who like to watch people be upset or bully others.
Well, I mean, there's
That's
room
cool.
there, Peyton. I mean, again, I'm not going to say my channel. I mean, I'm 400 subs. My channel's a month and a half old, so it's not like it's big, but it's growing because of that. You know, of just having that middle ground and being able to converse with people. I was in one of Josh's threads with Game of Thrones Den of Nerds, and there was someone in the comments of the video that was saying something. I'm sorry, anybody who, I mean, people can like the movie. I like The Rise of Skywalker, but anyone who says they love this, they're just in denial.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, what do you mean in denial? I go, that's your opinion about how you liked it, but
Yeah.
you can't judge the mental status of everybody who loved it by saying they're in denial and lost.
Like, you're an idiot for liking this. Or you know something. Like, really?
Like, I'm not saying there's something wrong with you for not liking it. It's subjective. It's an opinion. I mean, whatever.
There's a way to say you don't like something without calling people names and going off the rails. And just,
Okay.
Exactly.
I'm trying.
no, you're fine.
That's why I talk to you guys. That's why I talk to Peyton. That's why I talk to Darth Daddy and Star Wars Only. And Jarbo's kind of a madman like I am. That's why I like Jarbo.
Well, okay. So let me explain my background on this. Real quick. I criticize the Fandom Menace, and I criticize some of the people in it. I was part of Gamergate 5 years ago. I watched this shit that degrade from the inside. We had alt-right trolls coming in from 4chan and from 8chan that just wanted to sow division in order to profit, in order to cause chaos. So much so that the FBI ran a 2-year investigation into Gamergate and determined that it was alt-right. It was right-wing trolls that were coming in there and trying to cause a problem. And that ultimately ended up destroying the movement because they shifted the narrative, right? Like in the beginning, we were like ethics and games journalism. And then you had the trolls that were like attacking women. And then the narrative became that they're attacking women. So if you see people in your group that are causing a problem, that are gonna basically, as Josh from Dead and Nerds, and I agree with him on this one, says, paint yourself into a narrative corner, and it's going to either cause you as a content creator to go down the rabbit hole of just doing nothing but negative content and attacking everyone because that's where the views are. Then I think it's up to you to call these people out, to hold them to account and say, listen, we're on the same side, but do better, be better. And that's one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of us in Gamergate had, was we didn't stand up to that. We didn't fight back against that. And we ended up watching this thing that we thought we were called. I was personally called worse than ISIS on the day when ISIS beheaded an American journalist.
I've been called that too.
I was called worse than a plantation owner, worse than KKK from Access Media. Right? Like it's just these are like Access Media people that have big audiences that were calling us that. And we had no recourse back from that shit. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that we had those people coming in that were fighting, that were problematic, and no one stood up to them and said, no, stop. And that's where I'm like, look, I agree with the Fandom Menace on a lot of stuff. But it's like when you've got people like Jeremy saying, well, the Rise of Skywalker is making money and there's no way to spin it. It's like, dude, your mask is slipping. You said the quiet parts out loud, and people are going to start to see exactly what kind of person you are.
It's a Rotten Tomatoes conspiracy. That's what it is now.
It's all the three bracket media, right? There's all the three brackets, all the Jews, because they love to bring it up.
I've been victim of it. I mean, you being the middle guy, being the pragmatist, in the same conversation, being called a cuck soy boy from one people and then being called a Nazi from the other side, and it's like, which one am I, guys? Which one am I? Okay,
pick your poison.
You're a soy cuck. That's what you are. You're a Nazi.
I'm a Nazi cuck. That's what, apparently what I am.
That's awesome,
according to these people. But
well, Peyton, you tried to leave it on a high note.
I want to ask this.
Okay.
I want to ask this to you guys.
By making us think that we're alone. And so it's like we just need to talk more about positivity and not really talk about them. Because it's like, as Larry and some people were saying in the comments, it's like the more you talk about them, the more you're giving them validation and recognition. It's like that's not worth it, It's like we should be talking about what we all are getting back to the brass tacks here of Star Wars, what we liked, or respectively what we didn't like. Like, it doesn't mean other people, just go back to the basics here. And that's what kind of like, again, Jamie's Kenobi fan film did, go back to the basics. Like,
sure.
Yeah.
I agree with Matt too, but I see what you're saying. Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying to go more towards focusing on positivity about movies and stuff too. I'm gonna get back to reviews. I like steelbooks. So I personally have to evaluate. That's the other benefit of having you guys on. I need to evaluate myself too. So is it worth it anymore? You always have to weigh that in your mind. Is it worth doing this video?
And is this being like a masochist? Like, why are you inflicting such stress and such anger on yourself? And talking about people or things you don't like. Well, then talk about the things you do like, and like leave that alone. If it's such a stress trigger for you, why are you doing that to yourself? You know? Because
they can't literally find or ignore the things they do like because they think the bad things are so overwhelming that they can't even like the things they do. I mean, here's the thing. At the end of the day, even if I completely dislike like The Last Jedi, I can say, well, it was a Star Wars movie. You know what I mean? It's like, I find something, you know, I got to see a Star Wars movie, you know, there was lightsabers, there was some stuff. It may not have been everything I wanted, but hey, it's still alive. It's not dead, you know, it's still there. So
no, I know. Just
all they do is just bitch. There's nothing constructive about them. That's all they do is just nag about everything. It's like, dude, if you really want change in Star Wars, let's talk about something constructive. Okay, that's why I love your channel, Star Wars Only. Is you bring out like it's a turd sandwich basically. You have all the good stuff, the bread on the top, you put the shit in the middle, and then you end it on a good note, man. That's awesome. That's how it ought to be, man. That's how it works when you're getting a review with your employer. They're going to bring up all the good things. Then they're going to, hit you with the Empire Strikes Back bad stuff. And then they're end it on a good note with all the positive qualities you have and Return of the Jedi, your ass. That's how we need to go about this.
I agree 100%.
Be constructive.
That's what your channel's been boiled down to, Star Wars Only. You know how to be a turd sandwich.
I was going to say, I'm a turd sandwich. I like it. It's better than what I've been called before. That's for sure.
Here's your tagline.
Totally. Put that in your intro now, dude. Star Wars Only.
What are you talking about?
I can't get rid of my intro, man. People are going to riot.
That's a good intro, man.
I was mad when he took it out. All right. I think we're going to end it. All right. Thank you, everybody. And go check out Peyton Plays, Darth Daddy, and the Gray Council channel, the Gray Order. Matt Jarbo did a great video. You should really check it out today. It's a hot one, which I like. He brought the heat. Chubby Teddy, check him out. I want him to show his toy collection and Star Wars Only. Right. You're all welcome back. I'll do any collab you guys want. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Release the Snyder Cut.
Oh no.